There she is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the world-famous pop culture professor, Dr. Rebecca Housel. And she's kind enough to come back on the show and talk to us about what really is going on as we lurch forward into the summer for like the summer movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've been, I apologize, we've been a little bit, we're kind of a little disheveled. We're doing Craigslist things, and so that was kind of, I had to actually had a phone call right before the show. That's what happened.
I wish we could put that on the air.
Yeah, we kind of we were kind of,
yeah.
And that was a whole different story that's even more interesting.
Oh, it's great.
All I know is my name is now Tyler.
Yes. Tyler.
So you're speaking.
No. It's not a creepy Craigslist thing, is it?
Yeah.
Well, like we said, there's no Craigslist personals anymore. So
I'm gonna create some new graphics for Coffee with Curmudgeons. I'm gonna scratch out the name Doc and put in Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It could happen. I mean, I could see where that would work fine.
Like musical guest Uncle Dan. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, come on, no.
I'm kidding.
Don't.
But Doc, it is great to hear your voice again. How is it?
Great to hear you too, guys. I miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is everything going on the East Coast?
Well, it's actually might snow out here.
Wow.
On Sunday. So I know it's been a little bit of a crazy, supposedly spring, but I've only had about 3 or 4 days of spring so far. I just came back from hiking, so
There you go.
and it's getting a little cold out here. I'm just saying.
And we've had the opposite.
Right. About 80-degree weather.
Yeah. We've had it actually weird.
Yeah.
So you got the weather, and we got like the sun in paradise. I don't know.
Which is opposite of what you normally get, right?
That's exactly right.
Right,
That's
yeah.
exactly right. Yeah.
Which could account
It's
for.
it's so. Go ahead, boys.
Oh no, I was gonna say which could account for much of our disheveledness.
Yes, we're not used to this. We're like, what is that? It's the sun. Is that?
Well,
it's an infinity war.
Right.
That's what it is.
hey, there's a segue.
Oh yeah, I know. That was a hot segue. That wasn't even
oh my
like
God, yes.
That wasn't even subtle.
I got wet.
Oh
Well.
That's
well.
how hot. Oh.
Well, let's take it to Craigslist. Oh no, we can't.
Don't worry. She was just sweating, folks. It's okay. That's not what. No, I'm kidding.
Have you ever?
Yeah.
Have you? No.
Rated for mature.
Have you ever had a weird Craigslist interaction, Doc Housel?
You know what? I have actually never used Craigslist.
Ah, there you go.
For any reason, but Tinder now. That's another
Oh.
story.
Oh yeah.
Hey yo.
Everyone has Tinder stories or OkCupid or whatever.
I smell a segment coming on.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tinders.
have me back on. We'll talk all kinds of wacky stuff like men with horse heads.
Wow.
As like Tinder, and I'm thinking, who do you think you're going to attract with that?
Tell me that he had his shirt off.
You know what? It wasn't a shirt off, but there was another picture where he had the head off, and then he had a corn dog, I think, stuck down his throat, and I'm thinking, I don't think we play for the same team.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
But he said he was looking for women, so I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Maybe he just is trying to find
maybe
someone.
with Dick.
Yeah, who likes corn dogs. I don't know.
maybe he was just happy to see you. I don't know. There's some joke like with a little mustard.
I would mess with
Is
that.
that a corn dog in your hand?
Are you just happy to see me? Right.
Oh my word.
No, I would get.
Oh God, it's so bad, boys.
I know.
So, woo.
I would mess with them and say, "Hey, that's not kinky enough. Come back when
Yeah.
we're talking elephant ears."
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's just that's just me though.
Did go to the Trader Joe's last night and get some corn on the cob. True story. For the grill.
Right.
This is horrible. Remember that that thing you're setting up for the future, Jason?
Yes,
like
yes.
a live remote.
Yes.
Yeah. Guess what's not going to happen now
Right.
after the intro of this show?
Unbeknownst to Doc and Jason, they were watching the show.
Yes,
and,
exactly. No, we do.
oh.
We're good. We're family oriented.
Well,
We don't swear,
Oh.
right? No.
Do I have to be PG tonight?
We'll
Tell me.
try
I
to.
thought-
If
I thought
you
if it was at night, I could be more myself.
you know what? We have to make a special thing,
Yeah.
a special show
Yeah.
for Doc Housel, so we can,
Doc Housel Unfiltered.
Just for my dirty mouth.
you know,
And
you would be fantastic. You know, we are sad about it. I don't know if you, we lost the fabulous Art Bell recently.
that was so incredibly sad. I really was
know.
sad. Yeah, very sad.
You could
Rough.
be the next Art Bell.
Ooh, Doc Housel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh.
Nice.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
I don't know. I don't know if I could actually. Those are huge shoes to fill, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And Art was such an innovator. I mean,
Yeah.
literally. I mean, I think there was one other previous show that actually kind of tackled the paranormal, but I mean, he was the guy that kind of brought it, at least on radio, into the mainstream, and
Yeah.
he was one. I mean, this may sound a little, but believe him or not believe him, take it with a grain of salt or whatever about whatever subject matter he had. He was one of the reasons why I decided to actually get into radio a little bit. Right, he was the guy that, and I was lucky enough to actually talk to him a few times when he lived in Pahrump, and I asked him, hey, is there a future in radio? And he said promptly no.
Yes, exactly.
But,
the future is podcasting, kid.
Yeah, no, he was kind and gracious. I mean, he was a decent, nice guy.
He was just,
what
you see is what you get.
Right.
But I agree with you. I mean, it's like whether you are into that or not or whatever. It's maybe not about the content always, but the delivery and the community,
the
and
entertainment and the innovation of it. It was just hadn't been seen before, and a lot of people forget when he was at his at the summit of his popularity. He was number 3 behind Limbaugh, and I believe second was I think maybe Stern. Then
that would make sense.
And then Bell, solid 3.
Yeah.
I don't know, 600 affiliates or whatever.
So
but anyway.
Yeah.
All men, by the way. I just wanted to point that out. I know.
That's why I'm saying we need to
we need to get Doc Housel in there, right?
I mean, like kind of, when you think of like women, it's like Terry Gross, maybe, kind of. Yeah. NPR.
Yeah, but I'm putting my money on Housel. She's got
That's
it going
what I'm
on,
thinking.
Man.
That's what I'm thinking. Paranormal interviews.
Boobs, which I hope is PG. Is that PG?
That's
I don't know.
Fine.
I know if they're PG. They're probably rated.
You know what? Here's the thing.
Right,
you're right at home. You're talking to a pair of boobs.
What up, Bob?
It's one of those days.
Rim shot, Doc Severinsen.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, phrasing. # phrasing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. No, yeah, that would be good. I think that would be great. That's what we need. We need a woman in there talking paranormal. And here's the great thing, Doc Housel, as we found out, because we had, because Jason has there's all the paranormal. Yeah. When we had guests, we found out the stuff that really creeps me out.
Yeah.
Like that whatever that thing is, the radio thing.
Oh, the spirit box.
The spirit box.
Where
yes.
you get the white noise and it starts talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff is garbage, right?
It still creeps me out, though. That's the beauty of it.
Or the EVPs,
I mean, you would watch a Vincent...
come on.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I know, Look, I'm the biggest skeptic. I'm like, Mr. Science, the great Randy or whatever. I'm all about that. I had a subscription to the Skeptics magazine.
Yeah.
There was a skeptic, there's an organization, right?
Who even knew that? I didn't even know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, was it Amazing Randy? Was it
if
his
you have
name?
a subscription official.
Yeah.
You're gay.
That's right. He's OG, man. He's the Skeptics magazine.
But But still, you get that spirit box out and stuff, and I get like a little bit like the hair stands up on the back of my head. I mean, it's just like you know the Vincent Price movie is fake, but you know at some point you're like, ooh.
But you wanna believe in it, right? You wanna be
People
scared.
like to be scared.
Not only like EVPs and spirit boxes, but it's that natural human inclination to be scared of things like Ouija boards. Like, oh my God,
Right.
there's something evil going on down there, and so. Oh, I'm just saying, it's Ouija boards. I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I got that too. I was like, welcome to Ouija board.
Right.
Oh my.
Oh my.
There's something evil going on down there.
Down there. That's our
Down
tagline.
there.
And then the
Down
opening
there.
scene is a pizza boy, ding ding,
Right.
pizza boy.
Got your pizza. Come on in. We're gonna do the Ouija.
Yeah.
Little Timmy's scarred for
They
life.
would tie them up and put him in the basement and make him put lotion on his skin. Or
Yes.
That's right. Well,
Oh.
Put the lotion on his skin.
I love it. No. See, that's the thing that it's 2018, and that's what I love. I love stuff that now gets flipped right.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. That's perfect. Why can't we have the Silence of the Lambs, but it's like Silence of the Bulls or something? I don't know. And it's like, Meg Tilly is like, he puts the lotion on his skin, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who
Right.
would,
I'd just be yelling down the hall, hey, Timmy, shut up. Doc Housel will be low in the basket in another 30 minutes, okay?
the problem, I know, but
Just,
you know what the fundamental problem with this is, though, Jason?
yeah.
Is when you flip it.
Yeah.
And Jamie Gum becomes Jamie Gum, with a Y.
Yeah.
Actually, Jamie Lee Curtis in a revival of Jamie Gum.
Yeah.
The problem is you have guys volunteering to go down in the basement and do the.
Right.
Well,
Jason, will you get out of the basement?
when do I get
out of
whipped
that
again,
hole?
please?
I'm
May I
sorry.
please have another?
Can I have some more lotion? I'm out.
Yeah.
That's our version of Silence of the Lambs. It's gonna be
Exactly.
our off Broadway.
Curmudgeons present.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, then see we can see if Doc Housel will play Jamie Gum. because
Yeah.
in pop culture right now we're gender flipping everything.
Yeah.
I just watched the new Lost in Space on Netflix.
Yes.
Me too, Doc. Big high five. It was great, right? Did you
I
love
loved it. I loved it.
Fantastic. Yes.
I missed the little boy. I want season 2 to be ready right now.
Me
Because I'm
too.
ready.
I
Or Will
liked it.
Robinson.
See, that's what sucks about the binge watching. You get all these seasons at once, and you get to the last episode, and immediately, man, I want more. Let's have season 2 right now. And so you got to wait another year or whatever.
So the spoiler and the secret,
Yeah.
why I brought that up,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's really that big of a spoiler, is Dr. Smith
Yeah.
is played. In fact, I didn't realize it until it was going for a while, and then it was like, oh my God, it's Parker Posey,
Mm-hmm.
and she's
She's
great.
such a psycho. I love her. I love
I do
her
too,
character.
yeah.
That's so crazy. I love it.
Well,
So
she's-
like she can really. That's what psychosis is really like that too. Very manipulative, narcissistic.
oh yeah,
Mhm. You know what?
The trifecta.
You know
Yeah,
what's
she really did.
the best about Parker Posey's character, man, she has got the crazy eyes nailed down to a fine art.
Mhm.
Because you all seen the people with the crazy eyes. You know something's not right there, and but she did a great job.
But this is this is the typical thing when you're watching it and you're like, no, don't go with her. No, don't. No.
No.
Cover your ears. Don't listen to her, right? It's
Yeah.
the whole time. I mean, she's really sociopathic and it's very nice.
Dr. Syed has psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissistic personality disorder. That's really the trifecta. That you see all of those traits in her. As a psychology person, I'm beyond belief happy. I'm like, oh, she's so perfect.
She
was
is.
great in too. She played another psycho in Blade. That was
really?
Yeah. No, my God, she's so good. Oh, such a crazy person. I love her. She's awesome.
I think I looked that up, and I did see Blade on her filmography, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that's about, because she famously has done a lot of interviews, and she's kind of has even kind of, I don't know if she's kind of said herself in a way, maybe paraphrasing, but that she's kind of the queen of the indie movies, right? And that she doesn't do big blockbuster sci-fi things. And like when she did The Lost in Space, which was very high budget. I mean, it may be on Netflix, but this thing's got a huge budget. I mean, it's cinematic. The special effects are outrageous.
Yeah.
And they went, not only that, budget-wise, it's not just CG. They went to glaciers in like Canada and stuff and filmed on these glaciers in these national parks. I mean, it looks gorgeous, actually.
Yeah.
I was very pleasantly surprised at all of that.
Yeah, you really enjoy. That's good. Netflix is such a good source of pretty much anything.
But she was saying that she was like kind of happy that she's doing something like this now, like a big kind of CG action sci-fi thing, because it's like, this is something I usually don't get cast for, and it's fun to go do this. So maybe we'll see her more like maybe blockbuster roles.
Yeah, but she was born to play that role. She is good.
Yeah. So we like the Lost in Space.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So gender flipping.
And gender
you were
flipping.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what else?
And there's female Thor in the comics. It's huge right now. There's
really?
Female.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very big right now.
Female Thor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have the whole series.
Right. Yeah. Buddha loves it. Yeah.
How did that work? I mean, now remember, I'm not the comic book geek here, but how does that, like, as far as is it just Thor and it's a woman now, or is there a backstory, or I'm just curious.
Well, it's just there's always a backstory. It's similar to X-23 and X-Men, which is the female Wolverine, and you saw that character starting to emerge in, which came out. That was last spring. That was a big movie. So it's kind of that she's the female Wolverine, and in the comics it's a female Thor. She's Thor, but it's just a woman, basically. And there's a whole backstory to it. I recommend people get the comics, because how great would it be if there were a film? I kind of doubt it, but you never know.
With the mega success of Wonder Woman, that's not now in the realm of impossible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because
now there's going to be Suicide Squad is going to be featuring Margot Robbie's character of Harley Quinn. There'll be a film featuring her in the future. It will be her. She'll be the front runner, because she really stole the show in Suicide Squad. There'll be a Suicide Squad.
Well, she's great.
But I think that the Harley Quinn movie, I think, has kind of pushed the other Suicide Squad 2 aside, I believe. Don't quote me, because I might be saying the wrong thing. But I know that there's going to be a Harley Quinn movie featuring Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
That's interesting. I know she have some issues with that movie a little bit.
Yeah, don't know.
Something. But I have not seen it, but I did see her in I, Tonya, which I thought she's excellent.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen that.
She's a great actress. I really like her a lot.
Yeah, she was, I, Tonya was actually, I highly recommend it. It was good. Having people here who actually kind of peripherally know that story quite well, because it happened in our backyard. But is there? What about the backlash? It seems to me there's a lot of there's online. I see a lot of backlash. I do follow fan YouTubes and things like that, and most of the ones that I follow are good, but every once in a while, like, I'll click on something and it'll be a middle-aged guy, like a middle-aged man, white guy, and gray hair, and literally I clicked on this thing, and the guy starts talking about how Star Wars ruined his childhood, like the new, and I'm like, I don't care. You could agree or disagree with artistic decisions or whatever in anything, but when a middle-aged man says a movie ruined his childhood
and puts it on YouTube.
and puts it on YouTube and gets like, thousands of like views. I mean, to me, it's like some sort of high absurdist comedy. It's like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
I mean, ruined your childhood.
Hey, listen, I was scarred for a decade over the Gong Show. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, I mean, but it's usually, this is usually based around some of the issues we've had. People, white, middle-aged guys.
Yeah.
Who grew up watching white dude heroes do things.
Yeah.
And then get bent out of shape, I think.
Yeah.
With having a female hero or having a hero who is black or a person of color,
Right. No,
Sorry, what a bunch of BS that is. That's incorrect BS. I mean, that's patriarchy in a nutshell right there. White guys who can't can't effing figure it out. I'm not good at PG.
Yeah.
I'll try harder. I mean, you just can't. These guys have to get over themselves. I mean, if they don't want to, I'd be happy to bend them over and beat them with my belt. That might help. I make them say my name. I mean, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to help them get over their fears.
Well, we'll reserve that for the dungeon.
We're going to get so many voicemails and emails about, I'd like to volunteer for that, please. Can you forward me,
But we're talking about the world.
And their faces.
Yeah. We're talking the world of comics and sci-fi action and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, franchises, this is a huge world. Yeah. I mean, these are huge universes of characters, of storylines. Mm-hmm. And because you have a woman who's now the hero or the character, this has ruined your childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. It doesn't make. I mean, I can get people who are going, I kind of don't like that. I want to move on and stuff. Fine, whatever. The universe is vast,
Right.
I mean,
it seems it smacks, I guess, of a little vapidness when you're right. Out of everything else that could ruin your childhood, things like poverty and whatever, bad health, debilitating diseases. No, it's Star Wars that ruined my life.
Yeah.
It's that damn Chewbacca.
Because I did see one or two comments about the Lost in Space, and it was always like, I mean, mostly it was all good, but there was one where, well, I don't think Dr. Smith is like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Then don't watch it. Then go back and watch your reruns,
No, I don't get it, and I'm glad that. Let me ask Doc Housel this. Do you think that now we're like a year later after the Harvey Weinstein thing, right? Do you think now that we'll see some kind of almost positiveness coming out, that people finally looked in the mirror and said, "Oh crap, we can't keep going on this way"? And
I think that's more to do with money. It's always about money.
Yeah.
It's not ever about whether or not Harvey Weinstein was a pervert, which he was. Hey, you know what? My neighbor's 2 doors away. Every time I go in the backyard, granted, I am usually minus at least most of my clothes. But not because I'm a nudist, because I'm sunbathing. I like to be out there in the sun. What can I do? I put on sunblock, but the dude is like out there every time, and not just he's 2 yards away. He walks across the neighbor's yard with a wheelbarrow, pretending to dump stuff in the woods behind my house every time. It's really bad. It's very annoying. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, so close to literally.
Bob,
if I were in the South, I would have, maybe popped a cap or something.
Yeah, that's funny. Bob, you got a lot of compost over there, it seems. You keep the wheelbarrow every time.
Well, I actually have a compost pile because I am like nutty granola crunchy over here. I'm vegan. I'm vegetarian.
Oh, wow. See, there you go.
24 years. And I mean, if I want to be out in my own backyard, which is totally private, by the way, until and unless this guy walks like 25 feet away from me, so it's just ridiculous. But anyway, the Harvey Weinsteins of this world are not going anywhere. And the stuff that happens to the women that came out and talked about it. It happened to me, as you guys know. I talked about that before.
Sure.
It's happened to everybody. Every woman on the planet has had some kind of abuse. It's not going to stop. But what we are going to see is more men, more white men, making more money because they're going to put women and, you know, African Americans and black people and more Asians. It's going to be just more diversity, hopefully, because, gosh, we all need to get those roles, right? I mean, everybody has to. So it will end up, you know, we'll be seeing more diverse films. It doesn't mean just like this is the best example I can give, Doc and Jason. When we had a black president, President Obama. Okay, it doesn't mean that racism is gone, right?
Right.
Black president, racism is gone. So it's the same thing. Just because all these people have come out and everybody's kind of more aware of it, it doesn't mean it's going to end. And it just means that, you know, more white guys are saying, hey, maybe if we put some chicks on the front of these movies, like Wonder Woman. She actually helped Warner Brothers. That movie, the success of that movie, helped Warner Brothers hit $5 billion or something like that in terms of their bottom line at the end of 2017. Yeah, so it was a big one. But then Black Panther, holy cannoli, that just wiped the floor with every other movie that came before. In the Marvel universe, of course, Wonder Woman wiped the floor with every movie in the DC universe. Sorry, Batman. Sorry, Superman. Justice League. You guys are all small potatoes compared to Wonder Woman. Right. I mean, the boobs, it's in the boobs. What can I say?
Yeah.
Just they're magical. And Gal Gadot actually talked about how she felt a little weird because she's actually not, like, unlike, you know, I have D cups and I can barely keep these things in D cups. You know, they just want to come out all the time. She's not as well endowed, and she felt a little weird about it. She was like, I feel like I had more up front, but they really gave her some good push-up bras, I think. I thought she looked amazing.
Right, yeah. It's the magic of Hollywood.
Well, I mean, they had the warrior kick-ass sort of thing going on.
So So then that's a kind of a cool segue thing is what can we expect this summer that may continue the kind of the diversity of roles?
Well, as you guys know, since we just talked about Wonder Woman, I think I told you this, that when Gal Gadot signed her original contract, it was for $300,000 times 3 specific Wonder Woman-specific films, which is like nothing. That's obviously renegotiated, but there is a second Wonder Woman in the works. And that's not happening this year, but we certainly will be getting one, which is awesome. But the next big one that everybody can expect, besides this weekend at Infinity Wars, you know, the big opening for this giant ensemble cast that, frankly, I think all the success of Black Panther paid for, because there's so many stars in this movie that's just opened this weekend. Man, I don't know how they're paying for it. I think they're hoping it would be as successful as Black Panther, but I don't think so. I have my reasons why. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but the next big is going to be super, super big, and that is with my friend Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Deadpool 2 coming out May 18th. That is going to just rock. I'm so excited. I can't even contain myself. I'm like rubbing myself right now, going, I'm so excited. I just can't stand it. Ryan Reynolds is so great in that role. That was written for him. You know, he breaks the fourth wall with such like grace, and he's quite amazing. And I can't wait to. So that's coming up. I'm very excited about that one. Solo, another. Remember, these are all male movies, right? But that's kind of in that mix. That comes out May 25th.
I'm excited about that one.
The Oceans one or Solo?
Solo, because I'm a Star Wars fan. Star Wars didn't ruin my childhood. even sitting through those prequels, my childhood still wasn't ruined. I still could go watch an Empire Strikes Back or a different Star Wars. Although I did like Ewan McGregor in all those prequels. I loved Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. I thought that he was brilliant. But
agreed.
Yeah, I mean, but still, Star Wars is fine. Did not ruin my childhood, and I'm looking forward to Solo. For what I've seen of the previews, I really like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what people are excited about is I think the big buzz is Danny Glover
Oh yeah.
as young Lando Calrissian.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, do you mean Donald Glover?
Donald Glover. I did that. That was me. That was on me. Thank you for correcting me. Danny.
Sorry.
What?
Did you ever watch Atlanta, by the way, with Donald Glover, his show Atlanta?
I have not actually.
It's a great show. I'm out of my mind about it.
I love him.
All my I have a lot of hip hop artist friends. Don't judge me.
Actually, a little known trivia at some point. At some time, he lived in Portland or kind of commuted between Portland and L.A. back in the day. Maybe back in the Lethal Weapon. Yeah, I mean, he was it was family relationship kind of thing.
Cool.
So yes, you know what? I'm that's the first time I've made that mistake, and of course I made it right here live on the air.
Danny Glover.
You know what? Nobody will. Doc, if you knew the number of times that I F up, it's immense. So don't even give it a second thought. But that was any kind of F up at all.
I usually just say Childish Gambino.
Yes, I was thinking of that too, but that's his old Twitter handle. Now
I know. But it was one of the best Twitter. It was one of the best handles. I mean, when you just say Childish Gambino, you're like, yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean,
it was great. It was great. I did love it. I love him though. He's fantastic. But I have to say, to give a shout, my dear friend Billy D. Williams.
Yes.
Who sadly, who played the original role of Lando, and we're on tour together for 3 years, and he always was trying to buy my cane from me, which is really adorable.
Oh, really?
But yes, no, I mean, this is for real. We'd sit and have drinks and talk. He'd show me pictures of his grandkids, his family, and his favorite drink at the time, anyway, was a vodka with grapefruit juice.
Well, now.
I could. Williams and I would sit there drinking the vodka, grapefruit juice, and that was it. And he loved scarves. He was like a huge scarf guy, and he just went every city we went to. He was like, "Do you like my new scarf? I have a new scarf." I'm like, "It looks great on you." His agent was a little slimy. I don't care if he hears this and knows it, because I still think he was super slimy. And he treated me like a stupid woman. So I really didn't like him at all. At all. But I love Billy D.
But Billy D. Williams, yeah.
Only an agent, right? Only an agent could get slimy, whatever. like, that stupid woman with a PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I was an agent, for at least a little while. I kind of forayed in there. It all happened. It was weird because I didn't mean it for it to happen. I just all of a sudden had like 5 different people kind of at the same time say, hey. And one of them actually, or a couple of them were on your show, on a different show out in PDX, the Anarchy Radio show. Yeah. Patrick and Molly, Patrick Doyle from Ghostline, and Molly O'Connell, who was from another sci-fi paranormal show. Both amazing people, and Kristen too, right? Wasn't Kristen Blumen on the show too, also from Ghostline? Yeah, yes, I thought I had kind of float by. And Grant Wilson, right now in Italy. Yes, the original Taps guy. Yes, the original ghost hunter right there. He's a great guy. Love him so much. Anyway, I'm back to Billy D. Williams, and he was just such a lovely guy. I wish that they'd given him a cameo.
He was sad about that, wasn't he? Kind of.
Yeah, no,
he kind of
absolutely. And all of them are sad about when it doesn't happen. Like with Hercules. I know that Kevin Sorbo, another one of my pals that toured with me, he was like annoyed that there was a new Hercules movie at the time coming out with one of the guys from Twilight. And he was really like, I couldn't even get a cameo,
Yeah.
Only William Shatner and Stan Lee get those kinds of spots for some reason.
Right.
Otherwise, this doesn't happen.
Here's the thing, though, about Billy D. Williams. There's still time. There's one more movie left. JJ, they're getting ready to start filming.
They really should.
Never say never.
Nostalgia stars are so hot on the Comic-Con circuit. everywhere. I put Billy D on. Do you know how many Star Wars fans would go effing insane, including me? I'd be crying.
No,
I'd cry.
It would be perfect. I could write the scene. I know the scene. It's like you're some moon planet somewhere. They kind of walk in, and there he is with his scarves and everything. It's Landau Calrissian, older now. And what do? They sit down, they pour it, and they pour it out for Han.
There you go.
Huh?
There you go.
Huh?
Yeah.
I like it. Or he's just like a traveler, and they're at a bar, and he gives Donald Glover's Lando some advice.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen that scene. JJ,
Yeah.
I'm
there
incredibly disappointed in you.
Yeah.
Because if I come up with that on the spot, what the hell's wrong with you?
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying there's more than one opportunity, right? There's the old, the final trilogy where we can bring back the older original people, and then the new, sideline stuff. So.
But I love it when Hollywood pays homage to the foreign, like Billy D.
The first scene, Parker Posey as Dr. Smith in the first scene.
Yeah.
Billy Mummy has a cameo.
There you go.
And
right?
you know what? They should do stuff like that because, I mean, frankly, I worked with Ron Glass, who was in Barney Miller, but he's also part of the Week. And he passed away.
Yes,
and
he did.
Tell you what, it was so incredibly sad. I cried. He was one of the only people that affected me as a star, which might sound weird given stars I worked with. But when he walked on stage, I heard him backstage because he was a little late. And coming, it was it was 1,500 people, so no big deal, right? I think it was maybe 3,000. That might have been a 3,000 person audience, and we're waiting for Ron Glass, and he's backstage. He's like, I'm coming, and he comes running out with his yellow sweater on, and I saw him, and I just started to bawl. I'm hosting the panel, and I'm crying. He comes over and hugs me. He's like, "Oh, it's okay. I have this effect on women." I'm like, "No."
Oh my gosh.
It's just that I heard his voice, and I had a flashback to my childhood, hearing it in the background. When my parents would watch it. I never watched it.
No,
I was little.
I gotta
like a
tell
toddler.
you. See, we could, and we can't. But I could spend all day asking you about your experiences with Ron Glass. He was one guy I would have loved to have met, and he, sadly, like you said, he passed away recently, like in the last 2 years, I want to say.
It was last year.
It was last year.
Why,
yeah, it was sad.
Yeah, it was 2017. That's why they have to get guys like James Hong, who's I mean, they've got to get Stan Lee more and more. He gets a lot of cameos, of course, but as he should. They have to get these guys like Billy D. Williams in now because the opportunity is now. It's not going to be later. There is no later,
Right.
I think about Prince, who, of course, that was very tragic. He was very young, really. And you just never, you can't know. We don't know. None of us know. So when you have an opportunity to have a nostalgia star who's still living and breathing and get in that movie, do it, man. Do it. Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Ethical casting.
I agree.
Ethical eating, ethical casting. We're starting a movement. Let's go.
Well, poor boy. I mean, I assume we'll see Stan Lee in some cameo in Infinity War. He always has a cameo, right? But
I'm not saying a word about it because I don't want to spoil a thing.
Right.
I saw it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, as history repeats. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say a thing because I really want to. It's hard for me to keep secrets, so I'll just put it that way. But I really haven't said anything, but I really want to. Same with Black Panther. It was really hard for me to say nothing for a long time when I saw it. I read a very, I want to say LA Times or something, recently read a long article about Stan Lee and the stuff that's going on in his personal life, which is very, well, I think I sent it to you, which is very disturbing. Have you read any of that, since his wife passed away? I had a little, I mean, I actually responded to some, one of my very good Twitter followers, and he does a lot of, he uses my hashtag in his tweets, and he does like a lot of promoting. It's FJ Kirby, I think 1776. He's fantastic, and he actually brought to my attention Kevin Smith, who it's not that I'm not a fan of Kevin's work, but sometimes I just think he's gotten too big for his britches, to be honest with you, because he comes up with stuff. I mean, he had a heart attack,
Right.
and then he's calling out 95-year-old Stan Lee on Twitter. I'm calling you, but you're not answering. Stop being a publicity whore.
Oh.
You are so famous and so rich. What are you doing? I said that I thought with appreciation for his recent heart attack, and maybe he just wasn't himself, but he needed to, if I could find a way to talk to Stan Lee, who I know, who's also on tour with me, and, he came out on stage many times. He especially loved JDF, or Jason David Frank, who is the green/white ranger from Power Rangers, and such an amazing guy, really. So he would come out on stage. He just, all of a sudden, I think it was a problem coming to the backstage. I hear this commotion, and it's Stan. The power of Martle's behind you. I'm like, quite literally, okay.
Well, based on what I've read online, that's part of the issue, the people around him and all that, and that I think Stan himself would be very gracious and has been very gracious from what I understand, but there's a lot of issues around the people who are caring for him in ways and things like that, and that's the issue.
Oh, unbelievable stuff. We talked earlier about the Harvey Weinstein stuff, and all of this. Nurses are like, oh, Stanley. Stanley's 95 years old. He's an old man and needs some showering because he's an old man, not because he's a pervert.
No. This is his wife, I guess, handled most of his business affairs. Yeah, as I understand it.
Now it's very hard for him, and somebody was writing bad checks, bought a house.
He
did millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then Kevin's like, oh, I'm asking him to live with me again publicly on Twitter. Why don't you stop that? And if you really want to help, you can.
Well, I mean, this article was pretty eye-opening. It was kind of you feel really bad for Stan Lee. You're like, oh, that's a bad situation, I mean, it's out there. I think it was L.A. Times actually. I think it was.
It's elder abuse.
It kind of like smacked. The whole article was suggesting that that's what was going on, which
it was either L.A. Times or Hollywood Reporter.
Or Hollywood Reporter, and it was like, people, obviously he's well loved and
he's an icon.
Yeah, he's an icon, and people don't want to hear about that, but.
What's really bad is someone stole his blood and signed comic books with his blood.
That's in the article, actually.
Yeah.
That is covered in the article where they did like some ink with his blood, his DNA. It's like, and I for a minute I thought,
Vegas. It was the Vegas thing, I think. Yeah,
weird, terrible, and creepy. But then I'm like, well, of course Stan Lee is gonna agree to taking his DNA and putting it in the comics, and then they'll sequence it and turning him into Stan Lee robot. It'll be like giant, some sort of comic creature. But that's covered in the article. By the way, speaking of Kevin Smith, there was breaking news today.
That's right.
For Kevin. He had a massive heart attack, almost died, keeled over. So the big news today one of the few big news items that hit on the Twitter is he has now gone plant-based and vegan, and is on a big diet, has already dropped 30 pounds. He's apparently a Weight Watchers spokesperson too. Wow. Like him and Oprah, but he's also gone like the whole kind of vegan diet. So he's trying to get his health back, and as a wake-up call. But I know I've heard him talk before, and his daughter, Harley Quinn, that's her name, right? Harley Quinn Smith, is a vegan and vegetarian and all that, and he's always talked about that. So I knew after this heart attack, once he survived, I was kind of like, it's got to be only time that the daughter goes, Dad, guess what we're not doing now?
Right, yeah.
Those eggs and that milk and that hamburger?
Dad, put down the cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's coming over to our side, the evil dark side of plant-based. We're all going to turn into poison ivy at some point, right?
There's so much fat in eggs and dairy. That's really why I gave up. It's not that. The meat part was definitely ethical, but I didn't feel that way about dairy or eggs because I got ethically sourced things like that. but I just realized how much fat it was adding to my diet. And when I stopped eating it, which is now about 3 weeks ago, I've dropped 8 pounds that I didn't know I had to lose. You know, I'm not a heavy person, so I'm like, where did that come from? I didn't even realize that eating dairy added so much excess fat to my diet that I would shed 8 pounds in literally less than a month. So it's pretty, actually, I think it's frightening when I think of it, like how much fat was in that stuff. And hopefully I keep losing weight and eventually I'll just disappear.
But that was kind of like the news that when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, you know, because I don't know, how long have you gone the plant-based route? I mean,
I became vegetarian. I don't even want to say this because it ages me, which I don't like. No,
it's fine.
Anyway, young men, close your ears. I think maybe one of the young guys that I know might be listening today, actually. So anyway, but he already knows how old I am and doesn't have a problem. We're 20 years apart. It's totally fine.
No, it's
anyway,
all good. Trust me,
it's all good. It's all good. It's all good in this hood and under my hood. So back to you. I've been vegetarian for 24 years.
Oh, okay.
And I took a Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance based on the novel. It was a class about Zen Buddhism, and essentially we used the novel kind of a theme. And it was a college class, started reading about nonviolence, and because I had been abused, of course, that's not something I want to perpetuate in my own life.
Right.
So I don't want to sustain my life on any kind of violence or death of any kind at all. And so that's when I basically took a stand. And it didn't mean I didn't, like my son, I didn't restrict him in any way.
Right.
But then when he became 21, 22-ish, he went totally vegetarian too. And actually, he's even better, I should say, at being aware of stuff like where things are made and how it affects.
Oh, yeah.
Earl, he's like an environmental guy. He's loved animals. A total Sagittarius. You know, he's just a super cool person. I really like him a lot. I don't always like him sometimes, but I actually love him overall. He's like a great guy. And that's one of the things I'm super proud of. He'll be like, "Oh, Mom, you can't have that. That like kills rainforests."
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh."
So
I didn't know that, so it's good.
So the whole like plant-based thing, like the dairy and all that stuff, so that's recent? Is that kind of?
Yeah, that was 3 weeks ago. I gave that up, and I never ate eggs because I just felt that was ethically wrong. But you can source dairy products that I even paid for the maintenance of a cow, if you can believe it, on a farm in Vermont. So I I made sure that the cow was taken care of.
Well,
I mean, I did that stuff. What can I say?
The factory farming stuff is just horrid. I mean, the I do know people who oh yeah, I want some dairy or whatever. It's and back when before I became completely plant-based, it was cheese. I like cheese, right? And it was locally sourced manchego cheese from sheep that were on a farm, treated ethically, that sort of thing. So
sure.
I don't, but congratulations on the plant-based thing. So because I was oh, there's something new here. That's good. And it is weird. I found years ago when I went that way that I all of a sudden had more energy. I didn't get sick for as long. You still might get sick or get a cold, but not as long. Doesn't linger quite as much. You recover quicker. I don't know.
Well, I went vegetarian, and you guys know I'm a cancer survivor. And what you may or not know is that this cancer, it's 27 years. It came back 18 years ago, and they gave me 2 years to live. Yeah. And I was already vegetarian and already eating a 1,200 calorie a day diet and already working out 5 days a week. So, lifting and cardio. So I was already very healthy. But I believe that's really the difference when people say, and truly, people do not live with high-grade brain cancer. It's not a diagnosis that, people, I just had a friend, I lost a friend in the fall who was only 27 years old, So it just, people don't live, and I have. And honestly, I really truly believe it has to do with what I put in my mouth and what I don't put in my mouth.
Well,
So I just have no meat. I think that meat is toxic, and don't do it. Don't do it.
I know.
Just don't.
I'm okay with that. Jason's like sitting here going,
No.
Can we talk about Infinity Wars, or
Right.
can we talk
No.
about
Actually, I do want to segue back, gentlemen, if it's okay, because I was about to talk about Ocean's 8.
What is
Everybody
Ocean's
loves the
8?
Well, I'm going to tell you. Ocean's 8, and then I want to also talk about The Incredibles, so don't let me forget that. The Incredibles is coming. Ocean's 8 is with Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Anne Hathaway. Rihanna is actually in it. Helena Bonham Carter. Oh, my God. I love her. She's another crazy-eyed person who's so great.
We were just talking about her.
June 8th. Were you really?
Yeah.
I love the Harry Potter series.
We're talking about Merchant Ivory movies because we're sensitive guys, and that's what we do here on Coffee with Curmudgeons.
That's right.
Merchant Ivory movies.
Aw.
Jason's like, what?
Any chance to talk about remains of the day?
11 or 13, but it's all women, and they're all related. I read the script a while ago, and I saw like the extended trailer maybe 2 months ago. I think it's really going to be fun, and I don't think it's going to make a lot of money because of those white dudes that are they're saying Star Wars ruined their childhood. I think that's
let me fix it for you. Ocean's 8 ruined my childhood.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's coming out June 8th, and that's another one of these. You were asking about the female leads and stuff, and that has your powerhouses. Kate Blanchett, you just can't get better than her.
Oh, no, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man, I love Kate Blanchett.
Her.
Yeah, so do I.
I want to have sex with her just because she's it's like one of those things where I'm not a lesbian, but man, would I turn for her.
I don't know what you're talking about. I see nothing. There's nothing here. I don't see anything.
It's a Sergeant Schultz defense.
No, it's not Sergeant Schultz anymore.
Yeah.
It's Bernard from Westworld.
Oh.
That's actually what it is now.
Okay.
It's Jeffrey Wright.
Gotcha.
I don't see anything. Anyway. So, wow, Ocean's 8. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to see it.
Now
I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it.
Well, I'd heard a little murmur about it, but not much.
I kind of, I saw the original reboot. I did watch that once, the Clooney, the reboot one, but it was like, I mean, it's like, the original Ocean's 11.
Yeah, they had the Rat Pack,
cheesy as everything, It wasn't exactly like, it wasn't, it wasn't the Manchurian Candidate or something with Frank Sinatra. It was like Ocean's 11. It was like, let's make a movie and drink a lot,
There is only one movie that's cheesier than Ocean's 11, Frank Sinatra, and that is Robin and the Seven Hoods.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
But so here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can go watch the Ocean's 8 with Kate Blanchett and Helena Bonham Carter and many other fine. I didn't catch the whole cast. I'm excited to go look it up now.
Mindy from was she in The Office? I think she was, and she has her show. She's a great comedian.
Please tell me Meg Tilly is in it.
I don't think she is, but Chucky, Ryder Chucky. I always think about her in association. But in terms of other women that are coming out in films, although she's sharing the title with Ant-Man, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man.
Oh, Paul Rudd, yeah.
Wasp, and that's coming out July 6th. So I'm looking at that's Evangeline Lilly, by the way, who plays the Wasp. And she's, oh my God, that's another one.
No, is that the second Ant-Man? Wait, is that the second Ant-Man?
Well, it's really Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it's introduced the Wasp. It's the title. So he has to it's not just Ant-Man billing. It's not Ant-Man 2 at all. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp, quite literally.
Gotcha.
So introducing a female hero in that storyline, which is awesome.
We're
building up to a Wasp film, I think. maybe
You know what
in
would
the
be
future.
good is like back in the day where, well, this was really long. People would send care packages overseas. You know,
Sure.
like my family would send care packages to like maybe other places of Germany that weren't like over on our side.
You mean the Eastern?
Yeah, you know, and coffee and, you know,
Sure.
Chocolates and things like that.
Chocolate and
I
socks.
just realized, because I'm so like behind on all this stuff. Like we mentioned movies that have been out for a few years, and I'm like, oh yeah, I still haven't seen that one. Oh yeah, still haven't seen that one. You know, and I've heard good things about some of the movies we're talking about. I wish like I could get a Doc Housel care package.
Right.
So it's like, okay, here's the stuff you need to catch up on. Okay, here's the Ant-Man, and here's the great.
Even if it's just like on Facebook, like a to-do list.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe a Starbucks gift card, and then like a few DVDs of stuff you haven't seen. Here, you need to catch up here. Because I feel so like when you and the thing is like it's 2018, it's summer movies are coming out, so it's like Ant-Man and the Wasp, the new Deadpool, and all this stuff. It's like, oh darn, you know, because I'm pretty much beholden to Netflix or whatever is out there, right? Because otherwise you have to pay like 1 million subscriptions for, you know, all these different things to see it or go rent it.
Well, so
you know.
Doc, let's great segue there. Let's talk Netflix right now, because as we started talking about Star Wars and Solo. We're talking Marvel. It's all connected because Disney, of course, owns every property that's part of Lucas, or that previously Lucasfilm, that's also Marvel Entertainment, and also 21st Century Fox, I believe. So I think that
I think they did. I believe it did.
So and then I think I told you guys. I hope I told you guys that Disney is creating its own streaming service, which is going live in 2018. And Netflix is losing everything that is owned by Disney. But except for the Marvel shows like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Defenders and Luke Cage and that whole Iron Fist and that whole kind of stuff going on there. So that's good news for Netflix viewers, but it's not good news. Netflix just is spending tons of money, by the way. They're trying to really beef them up for this separation and the competition of Disney. You know, how are they? I don't know who can stand in Disney's way. Frankly, they're huge. They're big monster trucks.
That's right. I think so I know that like Clone Wars, so some of the Star Wars properties like Clone Wars, I believe is still on Netflix, which, by the way, if that's something that anyone's interested in, and if you're confused by the prequels in Star Wars, I actually do recommend watching some Clone Wars story arcs because it will explain a whole lot of what's going on. It's like, oh, now I get it. But I believe all that stuff goes off of Netflix because all the Star Wars properties will be on their streaming service. Now, the Rebels, which I watched, was on Disney XD. Because Disney has their own streaming service. Yeah. Or the XD. No, it's the XD channel, I guess. But it streams.
Yeah.
So the next Star Wars, I think it's Jon Favreau. Isn't he doing that one?
I don't know. It's interesting.
He's doing one. He might be doing a new series. Someone's doing. The next animated series, because Rebels is done, the next animated series is going to be on that new streaming service, that new Disney.
Yeah.
So,
anything is definitely on that streaming service and off of Netflix. So that's the sad part. That's the sad news for Netflix diehards. I think you're going to have to start to go actually see the movies in theaters if you want to see them.
Come on, stop it.
I'm sorry. What about getting Movie Pass or something like that? That app up with cost. Anyway.
Let me just say that this is an interesting thing. Let me just go down this path, okay? First of all, the show is called Coffee with Curmudgeons. Yes. Okay? Yes, I just want to highlight, underline, underscore Curmudgeons.
Yes.
Meaning you've got middle-aged guys whose childhoods have been multiply ruined over the years. And not by Star Wars. Or J.J. Abrams or whoever you want to blame it on, just in general, just by life.
Yeah, I may blame the Mod Squad, but
just by life, okay. And so you know, I don't want to go into any loud, stinking theater with a bunch of, you know, anyway. The seat isn't big enough for me and my popcorn, and those kids are throwing popcorn, and, you know, so there's that, okay? So Doc Normal likes to, like, be in his privacy and consume. I mean, yeah, maybe there's some movies that really play better in the theater because it's the giant screen, but mostly it's like, dude, just, you know, iPad, good. Have a nice day. You know, the CG's not that good. It's fine.
Yeah.
So that's number one. The interesting thing about that is, you know, I have an offspring of high school age, and the response there has been also, yeah, I don't like, goes to certain movies, Wes Anderson specifically.
Sure.
Oh my God! Did you see the Isle of Dogs?
Yeah,
That was so good.
These kids, I'm telling you, these kids that I know, they're more. I don't know how Disney's going to work out. I mean, they grew up on Disney and all that stuff, but they're more like the cinephiles and stuff. I mean, it's all like, you know, the Wes Anderson and the this and that and some. I saw that. I watched that Audrey Hepburn film on Netflix, you know, and you're like, really? You did? Oh, okay, cool. And they're like, I don't know, I don't want to go to the theater and stuff. And remember, this is the millennial generation. This is the internet was always there. The iPad was always there.
Yeah.
So how do you consume your shows and all that stuff? They've been watching on iPad. So going to the theater is kind of like a weird thing. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I know that and we still have this weird Hollywood thing where you have to release in a theater.
Yeah.
And that's something that Netflix has changed, right?
Sure.
Because it's just, here it is on Netflix. Here's your Lost in Space.
Right. Well, and then
like Will Smith. That's another sci-fi. Did you guys see that? You must have Bright? Because I think it's what it was. Did I get that wrong?
The one where he's a sci-fi cop, right?
Yeah, what's that called? Isn't it Bright?
I can't remember, and no, I didn't see it.
I think it's Bright. My kid saw it and he loved it, but
it's just like Alien.
Bright, yeah.
It was kind of like there was a show like that in the past where it was like aliens and humans, and they were kind of like cops and.
Oh, that was
that was my take on it.
It took place in L.A.
Yeah.
Alienation.
Isn't this Will Smith thing kind of Alienation-ish in a way? I don't know.
Actually, it has more Lord of the Rings happening. You have to watch it. Yeah, into the future, a little bit in the future from now. You gotta watch it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. But I do want to keep going on the woman theme because I'm the only woman here.
I know.
And no, I didn't just say it. I did. There's a movie coming out called 8th Grade, July 13th.
What is it? 8th grade?
Called 8th Grade, and it's featuring about, you know, it's like a teen coming of age story, but it's always boys who are coming of age. And so this time it's a girl, and it's played by Elsie Fisher is starring in the role, and it's being directed by Bo Burnham, and I think it's going to be a great film. And then, you know, if you want to see a 55-year-old effing Tom Cruise, you know, go down ropes or whatever, Mountainsides, that's also coming out July 27th. Mission Impossible, number 150. No, I don't know that guy. So
yeah,
he broke his foot. He broke his foot for that film. I saw the footage.
He broke my foot. And then it's Mila Kunis fans.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who loves that '70s show?
Yes. You betcha.
She's fantastic. And she's going to be in The Spy Who Dumped Me, which comes out August 3rd. And that's going to have also, a little Jen Aniston drama. Justin Theroux played boyfriend, and Kate McKinnon is in that film also. So it's very female-centric. And then I really want everybody to see this movie. It's not necessarily female-centric, but it does have Constance Wu will be starring in this film called Crazy Rich Asians. It comes out August 17th, and I really feel like it's been way too long. Having, you know, being friends with James Hong and hearing his story, and my friend TN, who's this fantastic writer in LA, and hopefully one day you'll see her movie too, learning about how the sort of the plight of Asian actors, Asian directors, just there's no storylines for them. I remember James Hong sitting on stage with me and saying, I think it was his 83rd birthday weekend, maybe we might have been in Portland, actually, now that I think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, just one time I wanted to be like a doctor or a lawyer or
Mm-hmm.
something, I didn't want to be, like the guy that yelled, Seinfeld boy, he was like the guy in Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that episode, anybody? So that was
Right.
a great, I don't know. So I really think that this is a fantastic movie, and I'm excited about it. It's a little bit of like Hollywood history in the making, similar to Wonder Woman, and if people are interested in that, they need to go see it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and then I'm off of my soapbox. So
No.
Well, I was earlier. I had to go look it up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, you were talking about kind of the coming of age movies, and I've been seeing kind of like back in the maybe 80s, 90s ish, where we had some really cool movies, stuff like maybe like Ghost World and that sort of thing. Some others like that, and I remember I couldn't remember the name of the movie, but I remember that the Lady Bird movie had been
That's right.
nominated, and it seems like
that was so good.
I haven't seen it, and I've heard great things about it.
Right.
And
I'm
it seems like
all
there's a
over myself.
trend, right?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna start seeing this more movies, kind of coming of age, kind of younger, especially female-driven characters.
Appealing to maybe the millennial demographics.
Yeah. Well, it was appealing back in the indie days. Remember?
Oh, Yeah, I remember there was tons of those movies in like the mid '90s or whatever.
Yeah.
Like The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Now I think it's Now and Then.
Yeah. Ghost World's the one I haven't seen in years,
yeah.
and I want to rewatch that. That was such a fun movie.
But it'll be.
I love it a lot. You're killing me, Smalls.
That's right.
Yeah.
There are so many lines that I yell at my kid that have to do with The Sandlot.
Oh,
that he-
nice.
that He's seen the movie, so he gets it. You're killing me, Smalls. Or how can I have some more if I haven't had any yet?
Yeah.
That gets him going.
Yeah, that was a great movie. But as we're talking about these coming of age films,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't have really. There was no female centric ones.
Right.
There just
Right.
wasn't.
That's the thing.
We're always catching males. Yeah. So this is kind of cool with things like Lady Bird, but also this new one, 8th Grade. We'll see what that's like. I'm going to see it because you got to support. If women don't support women in film, who will?
Right. Yeah.
You gotta do it, girls. And even though the Mila Kunis movie is really not something that's up my alley, I feel like people should go see it because she is really funny
Mm-hmm.
and fantastic, and also a total badass. She knows how to shoot guns and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
Nice.
see how good I was there? I didn't say SHIT, and I wanted to.
You're doing
And I spelled
fine.
it.
It's fine. We're fine. Everyone's fine.
Everyone's fine.
Well, we're having fun.
Doc Housel, the airwaves are yours.
I know, right?
Go
I
for
mean,
it.
we can't I mean, this is
No, I don't
as
wanna-
we're
I
talking,
don't wanna-
you know.
You guys, like some people listening,
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it. Hey,
I know.
whatever.
Like
I'm
ruin their
sorry.
childhood.
I don't
Doc
want to ruin
Housel
anybody's
ruined my
childhood.
childhood. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if anybody says that, I'm going to come and find you and
Yeah.
with you with my high heel boots on and lots
Well,
of black leather.
The
And you're
only
going to enjoy it.
the only person
Right,
that
yeah.
could actually potentially say that out of their mouth would be your son, probably, right?
Right.
So there is that, but other than that, yeah, no. I'm just like,
Well, and he does, of course.
Of course.
Who else is he going to blame?
yeah,
Honestly, it has to be your parents. Your parents, he has 3 memories that he has that are horrible memories.
oh,
And he brings up all the time. One of which had nothing to do with me, had to do with someone else, not me at all. I wasn't even a part of it, thankfully. And the other one I had nothing to do with either. But the one about me was actually when I became funny drunk at a Passover Seder in 1996.
yeah.
Oh, there's a Hollywood script for that.
Okay, now,
I love it.
yes.
I want to.
Hmm.
Maybe Parker Posey can play in it with the
Yeah.
rest of that That's those indie people, from those movies like Mighty Wind and stuff like that,
Right, the mockumentary like Christopher Guest. Segue, it's a good segue because now we're at the sharing portion of the show where Doc House is going to tell us about the Seder.
I did run one this year too. I had one this year.
Excellent.
I'm like Jewish, and Jews are like amazing and super powerful, and wonderful, and very small portion of the population, people. So stop blaming us for everything. You just can't blame 3% of the population of 300 million people for everything that goes wrong, idiots. Anyway.
Right. Have you ever noticed that?
Hey.
Though in history, it's always the white guys that is the big proportionate demographic of everything. They're always blaming the subset, never themselves for screwing things up.
Well, that's how they stay rich and powerful because they get rid of any competition, like women.
Yeah.
Speaking
or any other kind of minority.
Speaking of white guys and Netflix.
Yes.
There is something on Netflix that I haven't gotten around to watch, but it is in it's like top cream of the crop top list.
Yeah.
You know how Doc Normal likes his documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out to this one.
Okay.
There is a new documentary that dropped on Netflix.
Okay.
It's about what's one of my favorite documentary subjects. Space.
Yeah.
NASA.
Yeah.
Rockets.
Yeah.
Astronauts.
Is that the Mercury one? Mercury 13 or something like that? Yeah, that's on my queue.
This is actually a documentary about the little known unknown astronaut program of women.
Yes.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Like, as in, when we had the original, we all know the original 7 astronauts. We all know them from name, right? Just like the apostles.
Yeah.
You have the Apostle Glenn, the Apostle Shepard, the Apostle Gordon Cooper.
We'll talk about an old boys club, right? NASA.
Yes.
I mean.
Right. And so there's a documentary on the original women who were actually in the NASA astronaut corps and trained and did all that stuff. So I'm excited about that because that's actually a story. I've read a little bit about it, but it's a story that's obviously not well told.
Right. You know, because NASA, I mean, they're not exactly what you call a real. I mean, you'd think for space program, forward thinking, but as far as like employees and stuff, I mean, what was
it was like the Hidden Figures movie?
That's what I was going to mention. Right. It finally took.
Hey, I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
It's tying into that, I think, right?
The overall culture, right?
But I mean, this was actually trained, and I know I've read a couple of the top. These were women who were pilots, trained pilots, and all that. They were test pilots, actually. If you know. They were, and of course, just like anybody, they were like, "Sign me up." You mean I could go to the moon? I would love to be going to the moon.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, someone just this week, someone famous, and I don't know who it was or what it was about. I heard it on a space podcast. Imagine that I listened to a space podcast. But that said that they think that the first person on Mars should be a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Right.
Because I want to fit this in really quickly.
Okay.
Going back to men and the space program.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling is this thing's coming out at some point too. Maybe this summer. The Neil Armstrong biopic.
Really?
Ryan Gosling. I just saw that. I say it because this stuff pops
That's
up.
your alley.
What's that?
That's up your alley.
It is up my alley. I mean, no, Neil Armstrong, he was not a woman. But when you look, and it doesn't matter, when you look back on, and the truth is most people thought Neil Armstrong was a poor pick to be the first person on the moon. Like even the other astronauts were like, really? That guy? But he was, they chose him because he was the most he was the most cool-headed guy they had.
Right.
And sure enough, when he got into emergencies, he just worked the problem. He was like, I don't have time to cry over this. I just need to get the job done.
Right.
Much like the woman who flew the Southwest flight down to safety.
That's right.
did the emergency landing in Philadelphia after the CFM engine blew out,
Right.
who turned out to be the first naval fighter pilot. That pilot who piloted the plane, the Southwest airliner plane, is actually the first combat naval fighter pilot.
Hey.
So she came from, yes. And she was a she did like Top Gun. She was a trainer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Miramar, yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, now I can't remember her name at this point. But look it up in the stories about her.
I will. Yeah. I heard kind of a smidgen about that, but I didn't know a lot of the backstory. You know, her being a naval, the combat pilot part. I knew that she was very highly.
She was rejected by the Air Force at the time. We're talking in the 80s because they still didn't allow women to be in combat situations, but the Navy said okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And what's that?
I like the Navy.
Well, so here's the thing. What she did, she had a plane full of people in an emergency that blew a whole engine out. Much just like any pilot, any astronaut, man or woman, you work the situation. You nerves of steel. You are there to save your crew, save passengers, save the plane, save yourself. And the only way you do this is you stay calm and you take care of the problem. And when you hear the tape of her, taking care of that problem, I mean, this is the training.
Right.
It's like, that otherwise bad things happen.
Right. I mean, combat training, the first thing they teach you is compartmentalization and focus.
Yeah.
Do what's in front of you, do what you were trained to do, and don't think extemporaneously unless,
And it was great because you all remember pilot Sully Sullenberg, right? Yeah. Of the Miracle on End. And of course, they had to go interview him after that disaster in the air. And he was like, oh, yeah, pilot was like right on. And there's even some, because I sort of like aviation stuff too. Imagine that. Mm-hmm. There's things about how, it landed too fast or whatever. She actually figured, what happens is when you blow an engine out, you don't put the flaps down because you don't know if you can control the plane. So the plane landed kind of without the flaps down, which is very unusual, and which means you go really fast down your landing. But they landed in Philadelphia with a big, long runway to accommodate it. All that stuff was technical thinking in the air with your plane disabled.
Moment,
and these are just all things. And these pilots were giving interviews and going, yeah, she did this and did that, and this was perfect. Perfect, so I don't know. I really like stories about pilots and astronauts.
Well, I'm going to check out the Mercury 13.
Yeah, and all this stuff. Yeah. And we've got great pilots and astronauts and scientists and people, and they're not all white males, okay?
Go figure, right?
Go figure. And
yeah.
I don't like it when there's an air disaster, but I do like it when you see like a textbook, like a pilot do all the things right. Like there's your training.
Right.
So sorry, there was my soapbox. Look at that, Doc Housel.
Look at
that.
Me. I love it. I love it. And you know what else I love? I was telling you guys about the show, and of course Donald Glover is the reason why that show's on the air, and he's connected to Star Wars now. So there's more connections because everything is connected. Because for women, part of the reason why we're good in emergency situations is because everything is connected and excess of oxytocin. Yay for oxytocin! We want to save. That's a good thing, and I think for a long time it was the opposite. And so Donald Glover's show Atlanta has another star named Lakeith Stanfield, who I actually know, and he's going to be in a movie that comes out July 6th called Sorry to Bother You. And it's really interesting concept because we all hate telemarketers, don't we? I mean, I was a telemarketer, before I became Dr. Rebecca Housel, blah, blah, blah. I actually had to have regular jobs, and that was one of the regular jobs that I excelled at because I'm a silver-tongued devil. No, those Geminis. I'm not a Gemini. I'm a Leo. Anyway. so much commentary happening right there. So he's a telemarketer who discovers that he can use a white voice, and he's more successful when he does.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and so, I really like his character in Atlanta. I mean, I got to tell you, I love that show so much. And, I lived in Atlanta, and Atlanta is still like a place I'm connected to. And I know a lot of hip-hop artists, and so it's interesting because the show Atlanta focuses on a hip-hop artist named Paper Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Glover's character, Ern, actually manages. It's his cousin. And so I'm like, seeing Lakeith in this movie, I didn't even know it was coming out. Everybody's so tight-lipped in Atlanta, I'm like, what's happening? Nothing. And then, next thing you know, there's like a video. I'm like, hey, you just have a new video out. How come you didn't tell me?
Mm-hmm.
They know I'd want to be in it. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I'm very excited about this movie. Sorry to bother you. July 6th, another one that's similar to Black Panther. It's basically a black man is right front and center on this film, and I'm hoping that it really sells. So we'll see. I'm hoping it's not Black Panther is still a fictional character, right? But this is like real life,
Right?
And
yeah.
it's about a real life thing. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm very excited for that.
Will it make a telemarketer seem likable?
I doubt it. I mean, again, I was one of you, so I know what I'm talking about. And I won a lot of incentives because I was so good. I was so good, I got an old lady to wheel her. To wheel her house to like a university.
There you go.
Then her son called, and I got in trouble. And I got in trouble, and my boss was like, so good at this. Here's a bonus. They were like so happy with me, and I'm sitting there going, I got to get another job because this is really bad.
It's just there's just not any good Netflix documentaries on telemarketers. You know what I mean?
It's like used car salesman.
Yeah,
right?
It's just like, well, there was that one movie. Was that a Robin Williams or
no used cars?
Yeah,
Kurt Russell.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, another great that also passed away.
Yeah. Tin Men was the one. About the siding salesman. Wasn't that it?
Cadillac Man? Was it? No,
There's Cadillac Man, yeah.
Cadillac Man.
I was thinking Tin Men. That was Richard Dreyfuss and someone else.
Yeah.
And then they were selling like siding. It's like the 1960s thing or whatever. Yeah.
I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was an old movie. Remember?
Yeah.
We're old. It's like Deadpool? I don't know. Oh, Tin Men? Yeah, that was a movie.
But I see that somebody was asking me questions. I mean, I register as like a 30-something because I didn't see any movies. You know what I mean? Like I saw stuff like now. I didn't even see Donnie Darko until I was like 38. I mean, I just didn't see a lot of that stuff, and I didn't have opportunities to. But the other thing I want to kind of quickly circle back to Lakeith, and sorry to bother you coming out. He was also in, besides being in Atlanta, which is on FX. Everybody should watch it.
Okay.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I'm helping my friend,
That's
but
okay.
I don't care.
No, that's all good.
So, did anybody see Get Out? That really freaky movie?
Oh.
Did you see that?
I rented it after the Academy Awards. Yeah, after the Academy Awards, I had movies on my list, and Get Out was. Well, I had heard the buzz on Get Out, and I wanted to actually go see it in the theater, but I didn't have the opportunity. That's typically my story. It's like, I do want to go, actually, I'll go see that one. And then it's like, no. And I'd heard so much, and then I finally rented it post Academy Awards and really enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah,
it was just really brilliantly written.
My usual standard operating procedure is my wife will say, "Wow, this was a good movie. You need to see this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, Get Out, okay."
Yeah. No. She wasn't saying you need to see the movie Get Out. She was saying Get Out.
Right.
Jason.
It took me a minute,
I'm
a little slow on the uptake these days, but I finally got the, It was.
I love you, boy. Can I just say how much I love you?
Oh.
I just think banter. I do want to say one more. Can I gotta get it in because I was going through the movies and the diversity movies. But I really wanted to give a shout out, even though I won't be here. Sadly, I won't be here. Like I won't be in the country. But I know I really won't be. June 22nd, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom comes out.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And my spirit animal, Jeff Goldblum. Why is he my spirit animal? Because Jeff Goldblum married somebody who was 30 years younger.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. He did. And every time he talks about her, he's like, and she's a contortionist. I'm like, yeah, I know, Jeff.
I watched that interview.
She's a contortionist.
Oh, he did. He did do a great interview on Graham Norton. And he talked about that.
I watched that interview. I'll catch any Graham Norton interview.
Mm-hmm.
I love Graham Norton. He's so good. Did you see the one with Jason Momoa, who I also worked with on the Comic-Con circuit? And it also had, I think that Jason was there with The Rock, maybe, with Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
Is that possible? Were they all there?
Yeah, it was The Rock. Yeah, he was with Dwayne Johnson. Yep.
It was that was a fantastic show. I think it was one of his best. Definitely better than when he had Tom Cruise on, who I don't like at all.
You really don't like He does his own stunts.
He was, I believe, he was just here not too long ago for the Wizard World Comic-Con. Momoa.
I was going to say, not Tom Cruise. No.
Because a friend of mine, got a meet and greet. And so he sent me a picture standing next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, dude, you wouldn't believe how big this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
He's really big. Yeah, he's really big. I never got to work with him, when I was on tour, but I knew him because we were on tour together. So in the green room, he comes over to me. So many of them, like Bruce Campbell, actually tried picking me up in the green room, which is really kind of funny.
So officially, news there is he's officially hung up his Evil Dead, right?
Is he? He's done with Ash and Evil Dead.
That's what I've read. Did you read that one?
Damn not.
He's I think that I know he was trying a lot of different things, and I think that's a great show, but it's really I mean, it's kind of you kind of want to go out on a high note.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. And I think that he really eked that whole storyline.
I totally agree with you. Go out on the high point. Don't
one of my favorite Bruce Campbell shows is not an actual Evil Dead one. It's Burn Notice.
Yeah.
When he played.
Yeah. Oh my God, I loved him in that.
Yeah.
He was so great.
And did we figure out, are we going over to his house later or something? Because like at some point we're just going to crash out. Hey,
Bruce.
Hey, want to be on coffee with Curmudgeons?
Bruce, I will tell you, Bruce makes a great tapenade.
I don't know where he supposedly lives, but he's somewhere around here.
Right, yeah.
He lives in Oregon, so.
We'll shoot our own documentary, Hunting for Bruce.
Oh gosh,
show up under people's houses.
As a million people haven't done that already.
I know.
Hey, we gotta go back to Incredibles too, because
we have to talk about this. This is great. Let's get on task. Come on, boys.
She's the one keeping it on task.
This is why we're here. This is why we're here.
It's been long awaited, and it just because it's animation, it takes freaking forever to make this shit. I mean, it just does. And people feel like
that's a good way to put it.
It takes a long freaking time, and animation had to be right because the first one was so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
This time it really had to be. They really had to get it right in the storylines and everything. And I think that they also wanted to include some of the kind of the new advents. They were already pretty female centric with the daughter and Elastigirl, and they were kind of heading in that direction anyway. But it was still the focus was on the men, and the men had the jobs and the women stayed at home. So there was still a little bit of that, but it was time period, right? So it was reflecting the McCarthyism, which I actually would use in my classes when I taught this kind of stuff, the pop culture stuff. That was one of the things I used to show the McCarthyism at the time where so many comic books died. And, of course, they show the death of the superhero. And it's kind of interesting because this Incredibles 2 coming out June 15th. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. actually 2 hours. And the baby is a big part of it. So Jack.
Is it still a baby, do you think? I mean, because they don't age in animation, like back in our animation, right?
Yep. I mean, I'm just saying that the baby Jack is a big focus. So everybody will. It'll be fun.
Now, I know that the baby was played by a different character. Did they actually score signing Baby Herman to play the baby in this one?
Baby Herman with the cigar.
I know, that was a Roger Rabbit reference, if you don't.
I love
Old
it.
jokes.
Yes. Which was another great movie. I so loved that one. Jessica Rabbit. Oh my God, how many people have called me Jessica Rabbit?
And it
I
had
wrote
the late Bob Hoskins in it, one of my favorite actors.
Yes.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
He died young, too.
Too young,
yeah.
No, I know. It's so sad. I really hate that.
And that
Stop
will be
dying, everybody.
That
No
will
death
be
allowed.
on Coffee with Curmudgeons with old people. We'll be talking about memorials for the rest of oh yeah, he died. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah.
Talk about Josh Brolin and Go Goonies on everybody. You know, that's where he started his career, right? As one of the Goonies with my friend Sean.
Oh, did he?
As it's Sean Astin, one of my
Goonie?
colleagues.
Josh
yes,
Brolin?
he was the older brother.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Goonies is one of the famous movies shot in Oregon, up in Astoria.
Yep.
A beautiful coastal town on the mouth of the Columbia River.
And if you really want to see some curmudgeons, go to where the house was, because the present owner doesn't like it, and they get out on the front porch. You guys get off my lawn.
Yeah. There's actually pilgrimages.
Get off my lawn, you dumb kids.
Right.
I want to, you know, oh my God. Also, this is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The kid that played the oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't remember his name. Oh, this is so bad. Was it Crunch? Was that the
yeah. The guy did the truffle shuffle.
Jeff Cohen. Was it Jeff Cohen? He's actually he's gonna be mad at me, but we're we're kind of pals. We met somehow, some way. That's all I'm gonna say. And he's a lawyer now, by the way, and super thin, super good looking. Chunk was the name of the kid. Yeah, Goonies. So that's right. I forgot about that.
Hey,
and so he's not a lawyer. He's an entertainment lawyer in L.A. because you're like, oh, where'd all these people go? Not everybody can be Sean. Sean is Sean does a podcast too, but Sean's amazing. I love it because he's because of him, I get to say that I worked with Emmy-winning movie stars.
Right.
I worked with Emmy-winning movie stars, and it was Sean Astin. So who doesn't love Samwise? You gotta love Samwise.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I'm being defended by Chunk.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, Doc Housel, we have to take a quick quiz break right here. Just
break.
Hang on. This is a quiz for Jason.
Yes.
It's by our sponsor, Purina One.
Purina One, excellent.
Which came in the mail. And so if Jason wins this, he'll get a free Purina One new flavor, True Instinct, natural, grain-free, something for your cat here. That happened to come in the mail to Doc Normal for no reason at all, because there's no cats here. Jason, name the top 3 films filmed in Astoria, Oregon.
Oh, top 3?
Top 3.
Let's see. Kindergarten Cop. Goonies.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger. Goonies.
The third one. Holy cow. On the Coast. They didn't.
Do you need a hint?
They didn't do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest there, did they?
Not there. No.
Okay.
Not in Astoria.
I need a lifeline.
Okay, lifeline. Okay. Doc Housel, would you happen to know? She's like, what?
Yeah, I'll use my lifeline. It's Doc Housel.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Are you ready for a hint?
I'm ready for the hint.
Johnny 5.
Oh, come on. Johnny 5. Yeah. Short Circuit. I didn't know. I had it.
Jason, you win the free sample of Purina One that came in the mail about a month ago, and I've been trying to get rid of it.
Free sample inside.
Don't eat it all at once right now. Save it for the cat.
I feel good because it is.
You have cats.
Purposeful nutrition. Oh yes,
You have
Stewie.
cats.
Yeah, my cat is literally two opposable thumbs away from ruling the world.
They all are, right?
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
There's something. That's why I named him Stewie from Family Guy, because you look in his eyes and you know something's going on back there.
Okay.
You know.
So thank you, Perino1, for sending that unsolicited to the last person who had that mailbox to me instead, who have no cats.
Thank
and
you.
Now Jason can take it away.
Thank you, current resident.
Yes, exact current resident. Thank you, current resident. Anyway, sorry, Doc Housel. I needed to, frankly, I needed to find a way. I've been dying to get rid of that thing for a month. But that is a Short Circuit, cool. Kindergarten Cop, and Goonies are three famous movies, all filmed in Astoria.
Hey, if we do more of like the quizzes, could the next one be Rice Aroni? Because I want to do like the old '70s, the San Francisco Treat.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and later if we can,
like a totally voice of that commercial. That was great.
Right. Thank you.
Say it again. Say it again.
What's that? What's that?
Say it again. I want to hear it. I want to hear Jason say it.
Oh, and contestants tonight will bring home Rice Aroni, the San Francisco Treat.
Oh my God!
Wait,
that's so good.
You don't even know. We have the special effects here now.
We just sit
with the new system. We have we can be demons or we can be ballpark announcers.
Right. Or we can do monster truck Sunday.
Wait,
Sunday.
Hang on.
Okay. Sunday.
No, wrong one.
No?
Okay,
let me know. Sunday. Live at the Memorial Coliseum in downtown Portland, it is Monster Trucks. You got... I don't even know the names of any
of them. Good job.
I missed it 15 seconds into it.
She may not actually hear the effects on her end, but I don't know.
I hear it. No, I hear it.
Okay.
That's so fun. That's all right.
The new system.
Oh, I love you.
Anyway. Sorry, we just had to do our tangent.
Yeah.
But you have been, I got to tell you, it's been a while. Mm-hmm. And you, Doc Housel, are on here, and you are keeping us on task with these summer movies. And do you know what we like? We like that because if left to our own designs, we're just like, Jason, hey, guess what?
It would be like
space.
It'd be 2 hours of us doing like little effects on the audio. Do that one again.
Yeah.
You know.
Use your arm that time.
Well,
anyway.
we went into Goonies and stuff, and what's got in Astoria. I also Stand By Me was. I don't know if it was Astoria, but that's and Wild, and one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, I think, was filmed there.
I did not know about the Teenage Mutant Ninja.
The third one, I think, was filmed there. There was just so many. You guys have Oregon.
Yeah.
People haven't gone to Oregon. Jeez, you got to get there. It's amazing. Oh, I have two nephews who live there, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
My lovely, lovely nephews. Hey, shout out to those guys. I don't even know if they're listening.
Hopefully you'll visit us at some point.
Right.
You know what? I'm trying to get out there because
that is great.
My nephew just has they're adopting, and so they have like a child, and I want to go meet my new little niece.
That's awesome.
So I have to fly out. Yeah. No, I definitely. But so we were talking about Josh Brolin, and that's why we're talking about the Goonies, and then that's why we were doing the quiz. So backtracking, Josh Brolin, of course, is going to be in Deadpool 2 with Ryan Reynolds as Cable.
Huh.
And he's playing an incredible character, and it's. You got to know the Deadpool character to kind of appreciate Josh Brolin is
right.
I mean, he's so serious, and he's going to be so serious in this role too, because Cable, it's going to be great. You got to see Ryan Reynolds and all of his rhetoric. Basically, it's going to be so great to see him kind of run verbal circles around Josh Brolin.
Right. Yeah. That's one Deadpool is one of the coolest anti-heroes, I've in the comic universe.
Oh, you gotta love because he breaks the fourth wall all the time and talks
Yeah.
to the audience.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fun and very, very, very now, very fresh, and it's happening a lot. You know, it's happening more, where a character is sort of turning to the audience and going, "Hey, by the way."
Right. Yeah. That's a
You know, I love to see that in like more writing too. I do a lot of that. I talk to my readers a lot on my blog, and what can I, you know, I talk about how I'm going to reach to the screen and I'm with you. Like I do a lot of stuff like that because that's I think that's more real than not real. We were talking about spirit boxes and all the crazy stuff for paranormals, but like for real, Harvard came out in 2014 with proof that telepathy between two strangers across thousands of miles in two different countries who speak totally different languages actually were able to communicate through telepathy. So I think it's not an X-Men thing. It's an every person thing. And, you know, you just never know. So, yay. I can't wait. Let's keep breaking that fourth wall. I don't even know where I was going with it. I feel like I'm on a Coke high. You know why? Because I had
well, that would be Coca-Cola, folks, out there.
Our other sponsor.
Have a refreshing Coke.
That's right.
Yes, that's right. No drugs, because I don't do drugs at all. You know what makes me feel like I'm on drugs, though? Like sugar. Sugar highs are bad. Sugar highs are bad. I had some almond milk earlier.
Oh, yeah.
That has like
there you go.
And I had some like, you know, gluten-free, like 5 different flakes of these gluten-free cereal because I don't want to waste it, but I miss the one thing I miss on my new little regime is breakfast cereal. So I've got this gluten-free, GMO, non-GMO, vegan, I don't know, cornflakes or something. And I poured some almond milk on it earlier before I get on with you guys, and the sugar's starting to kick in.
There you go.
And I just thought it was our natural effects, right? You know, we have this effect.
Well, it is actually, that's actually true. I really am like a nutcase. And when I met my little gym dates with my 26-year-old friend, that's all I'm going to say there. You know, he's like Forrest, and he's like so super stable, and you know, puts up with all my absolute insanity. If anybody at the gym looks at me the wrong way, I kid you not, this is what I do. I turn and I say, "Don't effing look at me," except I don't say effing. I say the real word. And I am like, I'm a Leo, and so I'm fire, and that is on fire all the time. So I'm like, ah! And my friend is like, so calm. He's like, okay, what do you want to do next? Let's keep going. Let's keep moving on. He keeps me calm, and I guess I do that for him sometimes too. Amazingly. That's possible, but
hey, you keep us on task.
Yeah, that's good.
ADD, baby, ADD.
Well, this is the show for ADD, for sure.
Hey, welcome to Coffee Curmudgeons. Hey, look at that squirrel.
Yeah,
you know.
When we don't have a guest, you should,
right?
And even when we do, I see you guys were talking about Josh Brolin and me. Being old and having my childhood ruined multiple times, I thought to myself, being hip and cool, I was like, oh, we're talking about Josh Brolin because we're talking about Infinity War. Because he's also the Thanos, right? You know?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up just to double check myself, even though I was right. But I'm madly typing on the keyboard because I'm like, I'm not a Marvel expert, is it? You know? But yeah, that's what I thought you guys were talking about. Because he's like a double dipper, right? He's in these different things, like Chris Evans was.
Right.
Because I liked Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. Was it Johnny Storm? Yeah.
Right.
The Human Torch.
It was Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four. But you know, even though they signed 12-year contracts.
And it's over.
But the Fantastic Four storyline just didn't work.
Well, didn't they also Fox, right?
Yeah.
Fox got the rights for a while, and then the one movie kind of really tanked.
I didn't even see it. I read the reviews, and it was I don't know. And
even the newer version tanked. It's just not a storyline that catches people anymore, sadly.
So here's the thing. As a kid, and you know, not being a big comic book guy, it doesn't mean I don't hate it. Fantastic Four was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love the Fantastic Four. I actually, when I get sick and I could go buy a comic book, can I please go buy? I am about to die now of a childhood disease. May I please go buy a comic book, Papa? Please.
You sound like you're...
half a pence. May I please buy one?
You sound like your little waif with like leader hose.
Yes,
you know?
that's what I was. Dying of consumption. Please, Papa. I will trade my wooden shoes for a Fantastic Four comic book, please. As I'm coughing and dying.
Yeah.
Just my last dream to read a Fantastic Four. Thank you. Please don't beat me anymore.
I must see what happens to Galactus.
Yeah, please have that last piece, a crumb of bread. I now couched all my entire childhood. See, my childhood couldn't be ruined because it was ruined already at childhood.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, how do you think I bought comics? I lived in subsidized housing, dude.
I know.
Nothing. You were eating the Wick cheese, so
yes.
If it knows what I'm talking about there. So this is what I would do.
Yes.
You are not enterprising.
Yeah,
I walk to the little store, and yes, it was probably about 3 miles away. And I was like 4 years old, and you can just guess a lot of my childhood just from that statement alone. Anyway, I would pick up money on the way. You see, you just have to look at the street, and you'd find the money.
I love it.
And I would find enough money, and I would go, and I would even have money left over to buy one of those giant freaking straws with like pixie sugar in it.
Yeah, pixie sticks.
Oh, the pixie sticks. Uh-oh.
Yeah, but it was the big one, because I like big things in my mouth.
I like big things. So evidently in pixie sticks...
It was coming. You knew it was coming.
Oh,
so
my God.
evidently in pixie sticks, size does matter.
Size always matters, Jason. It always matters.
That's a hell of a sugar high, by the way.
A liar.
Right. Yeah, but who hasn't had that experience with pixie sticks, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you actually eat so much sugar in one rush, you see like the face of Jesus, right? You're like,
I know.
Whoa!
As a little kid, it's kid cocaine.
It's kid crack.
basically.
Yes, it is. That's right. No cocaine too.
We're never going to be doing that remote,
I'd be
dude.
going 100 times faster. I mean, I couldn't even.
Yeah.
I have almond milk and I'm flying high. I mean,
Yeah.
We're cutting lines for pixie sticks, snorting the old sugar bugger,
Papa, why is that girl flying? Why is that girl flying? She's on pixie sticks. Do never have some pixie sticks. Okay, Papa. Okay, thank you.
Tuck me down, Papa.
Papa, may I have a pixie stick? Never ask for a pixie stick.
No fudge till you come down off that high. Yeah. Please, Papa, tuck me down.
You can have a Tootsie Roll, the tiny Tootsie Roll, not the large Tootsie Roll. So for the rich.
That's right. No. You put down that Chico stick. No Chico stick for you. You stay with Tootsie. Okay.
Eventually, our dream is to write just a Coffee with Curmudgeons comedy. Like just starring us, and it'll start in childhood. We'll get a couple child actors, and my kid will be fat and wear lederhosen, and
There is no way I'm getting casted for that.
Wait.
I'll be on cutting.
Yeah.
Roll back. You wore a lederhosen in your childhood for real? You gotta expand on that, please.
No, I don't.
Lederhosen.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Please, Papa.
And the answer is yes.
Lederhosen.
And at some point, I will get the picture out for Jason because I know.
No, yes.
I know.
Oh,
we have
gotta
to see this. I must see this. I must see it, Doc. You must show it to me.
Right now, in my mind's eye, I'm picturing the Bavarian Oliver Twist.
Uh-huh.
Please, Papa.
That's pretty much what it was.
Or one of the Von Trapp kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do I have to sing for my meal again? It's a tiny bit of bread and some soup and some broth. Sing, Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Jawohl.
Good night. You're saying good night?
Oh my God. I'm dying over here. You really are killing me, Smalls.
Yeah. This is what we do. And meanwhile, I'm walking down the street with my Fantastic Four comic book that I've saved a pence for by selling my wooden shoes, which Germans don't wear wooden shoes, but suddenly it's Holland. I don't know. And in my lederhosen, dying of consumption.
Right.
And a little girl named Rebecca is floating past me on wings because she's high on big pixie sticks.
Pixie sticks,
so,
right. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's true too. As soon as the guy rang me up at the Christmas market, I couldn't even see over the counter. As soon as he rang me up, I would grab that. The straw.
Yeah.
I would down the sugar, and literally was like, I wasn't home much anyway, so my parents were like, I don't even think they knew I went to the store.
Oh my God.
But they did. Oh, I know. It was fantastic.
Quentin Tarantino's The Life and Times of Dr. Rebecca Housel. Give me the pixie stick now.
Right. And then she's floating above on that high. It's just size matters.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We took it off the rails here, didn't we? Mm-hmm.
Can we just talk about that for a second? Because for real, it does. Who says it doesn't? I want to know. Who? You know what? What? Men? Oh, yeah. No, that's because you're wrong. It does every day of the week. Okay.
I'll say who says that. My wife, when she's lying to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. She is. Anyway.
I know.
Oh, there was a joke earlier. Oh, I know it. It was, never mind. I can't work it in.
Oh, okay.
Don't work it in. No, we can't do it.
Well,
No, you know what? For real, if people really want to know, because for real, I think it doesn't. Here, okay, I got it. I'm going to try to say it without saying it. So that's hard, no pun intended. But you got to know, no matter what equipment you have, if you know how to use it.
That's right.
And a footnote or a little footnote is, talented tongues are what really matter.
That's right.
And as long as you know how to use everything you got, you're not a lazy person, because it can be 1,000 miles high, but if you're lazy, it's like,
right.
Why am I doing all the work here? Hello?
I know.
Is anybody home?
And I was just telling Jason, it's just like when I go to Trader Joe's, and they have my favorite pickles in a jar. They're little German pickles, and I feel right at home.
Oh.
Little German pickles. It does work. Doc, you did it.
Hey, that's a Vlasic. Anyway.
They're not Vlasic. They're actually good. Check them out. Go to your local Trader Joe's. It's made in Germany.
Okay.
They're not too big.
Okay. They're not too big.
Nicely sized and very satisfying.
The cool thing is,
God dang.
If anyone was to make a list...
I so apologize to everyone on the internet right now.
If anyone was to make a list of the subjects we've touched on the
show...
is
actually getting much better as we get going.
Yeah.
Right.
When you guys listen to this show again, it's going to be like, we start off nice and even, everything is
I know.
PG, oh, sorry, I didn't know, PG. And now we're like practically screaming. We're lunatics, and it's awesome. I love it.
That's
Graham Norton's got nothing on us, man.
That's how we sucker him in, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out here if we've actually covered the things we've been trying. We did do a good swath of the summer movies, thanks to Professor Doc.
Right, if it's up to us, we'd still be on Trick of Sticks.
No, I mean...
Oh, and I do have one more that I want to squeeze in, because, heck, why not? This is for the horror fans out there, because I know you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go horror fans. It's called Hereditary, and it's coming out June 8th, and it actually does have some women in there. And I'm just saying, it's as the scariest movie of the year. June 8th, everybody. You've got to see it if you like some scary movies.
Right, yeah.
I do not like the scary movies, because my life is scary enough. And I don't need any extra scare. I'm already fine in that department. That's
right. We want fun in our fiction, man.
I am the same way, but here's the thing. I get these. There's one that, doggone it. There's a movie, I think it's foreign, coming out, and I'm trying to look for the name of it, and I looked at the premise of that.
I know, wait, I do know what you're talking about. It's, is it Sicario 2, Soldado? Is that what you mean?
It might be.
Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro, and I apologize to the audience. Probably just murdered that title. I'm so sorry. I really am not on my game.
Benicio
and I do speak 5 languages, so I'm just not. I'm not prepared for that one. But
No.
it's about cartels and all that kind of stuff.
I got
Josh
it.
Brolin and Benicio Toro. That's coming out June 29th.
Nice.
Okay, here it is, Doc Housel. This is just because I read this and I was like, okay, I gotta check. I mean, I won't go to the theater to see it. Of course, I won't, because I'm lazy. But yes, it's playing at our Northwest Film Center on Saturday, May 8th. The Untamed, directed by Amat Escalante. Let me just read you the premise of this.
Okay.
And there's actually a trailer up here. The Untamed. A meteorite brings a strange creature with an ability to intensely satisfy sexual desire to Guanajuato, Mexico. Director Amat Escalante returns in this social realism 2013. Anyway, that's the premise. A meteorite brings down an alien who basically
has the power to satisfy.
Wow. I thought the alien is me.
Makes out, bangs the population of this small Mexican town.
Huh.
And if you watch the previews, the people are like, what is this horror? This octopus horror thing. And then later it's like, hey, where are you going? I'm going out for a while. I'll be back. I mean, so it's a Mexican.
Nice.
Cthulhu. It's like a Mexican Cthulhu. Nice.
The Untamed.
Right.
But I mean, that just to me, it's like, okay, there's a premise.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of horror, sci-fi, and with a twist of sex, I guess.
Right.
You guys ever watch porn? And that's a serious question when I say that. Do you ever watch porn? Do you ever watch animated porn? Okay, because now I'm going to really show my colors. But if anybody is like an anime, manga person, a lot of like porn stuff that has to do with like tentacles and, and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay, so that sounds like something
exactly.
like movie is similar to that premise.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
Does Speed Racer count? I'm kidding.
Speed Racer.
No, come on, you guys really don't watch porn. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, I know.
Am I the only woman that watches porn? I mean, am I
You're
the only person
that does, really.
What? Really?
Yeah, no one else does. I don't know what you're talking about.
I no wonder why the president of porn and I know each other.
Oh.
Look, when you ask some dudes that, they turn into hosts from Westworld. It's like, I don't see anything. I don't see anything. What is it? There was another movie I was going to tell you about.
Okay.
From Estonia.
Estonia.
We talked about this.
Okay.
And I wanted to tell Doc Housel about this. One of the best, coolest movies I've seen in quite some time.
Really?
Yeah. It's black and white. And now I can't remember the name. I went to the theater to see it. It's kind of an indie, it's like foreign movie. You got to see it. It's gorgeous in black and white. And it's basically this 19th century enchanted Estonian village. I told you about this one. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to look it up.
I gotta find it on the Facebook. See, that's the other problem.
No, Estonia is one of 136 countries that's on my blog.
It was a great movie. It was about, they have these things, like inanimate. See, I talked about it already. Now that it's talked about, it's been erased. Those tapes were erased from my brain.
Right.
Now it's like, what was that movie or whatever? We'll go back. You know what? We'll find it and I will send it to you because I highly recommend this movie.
We're friends on social media, so you better.
Yeah,
so while you're thinking about
Doc,
I want to also talk. I'm gonna circle us back to the summer blockbusters because there's one more that I actually haven't talked about or not. And anybody that loves Keanu Reeves, anybody loves him, okay? Because I obviously do. I kind of have a thing for Keanu Reeves and Chris Hemsworth. But you know what's weird? When you meet somebody that like kind of takes care of, like you find super attractive, it's really weird how like none of that stuff matters. How you're like, and actually, even though I mentioned age before, it's really not even something that factors into my thought process. I'm just kind of using it as a joke on the air, but honestly, it doesn't even matter. And then people laugh at me when I say that because, of course, I'm the older person, so they think, yes, of course it matters to you. But actually, he didn't think I was my age. He thought I was closer to his age when we met, and I thought he was closer to the age he thought I was. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so back to Keanu Reeves. I don't know where that little segue came from, but obviously you know what I'm thinking of now. I know. Hey, Replicas. It is a Friday night. Oh, I'm just saying. Replicas comes out August 17th, and that's a sci-fi movie, which is kind of how we started our whole show tonight. And it has Keanu Reeves, and he plays a scientist who's working to bring his family back from the dead.
Wow.
Like vampires meets Dr. Frankenstein meets.
Oh, nice.
Meets, I don't. Yeah, I mean it's really. I'm excited.
Very
I can't
cool.
wait because it's Neo. It's Neo, everybody. It's Neo, and he's on the big screen, and as something other than John Wick, which is really nice and refreshing. I like John Wick, but come on, he's so talented. He can do anything, and I'm really glad he's doing this. So that's coming out on. Fun.
One of the cool things about talking about the movies on the show is I'm impressed by the and it's given me a little hope for cinema that the variation and the depth of different original sort of storylines. I know you got like the big formulaic sort of sequels in the box office too, but there's some really cool. Sounds really cool. That's very intriguing to me. So.
Yeah, the Crazy Asians is one of the ones that you're kind of referring to, which we really based on a novel, by the way, that came out in 2013 from Kevin Kwan, and I'm gonna see it because Constance Wu is great. Henry Golding is in it too, and it's the backdrop for part of the film at least is Singapore, which is, if you've never been, everybody, it's a gorgeous city. It's like so super clean. It's very clean there. It's beautiful. So it's really going to be like a rich story about actually a really rich person. And kind of how this normal girl meets kind of one of the most wealthiest, a guy from one of the wealthiest families in Singapore, but she doesn't know it. And then there's a whole thing about parents, and that's the thing that, like, even regardless of age, right? Like, isn't that always one of the biggest fears in like a relationship? Because you meet somebody and you like them and they like you, and sex is great or whatever's going on is awesome. And then it's like it gets to a certain point and it's like, so my mom's going to be in town or my sister's going to be in town, and you want them and you're like, no. Not really. Not because you don't want to meet them. It's because you're, in your mid-40s and that person's not, and you're like, this is going to be judged. I don't want to go there. But anyway, so she doesn't even realize it. It's kind of like being waylaid. She sort of thinks she's going to meet like a normal family, and then she ends up basically meeting the equivalent of like the Trumps or something, super rich. And she's, so it's going to be an interesting premise, and I can't wait to see it. Yay! Yeah.
One of my favorite movies with the premise of like meeting the parents or whatever, the family dynamic, is The Birdcage.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Was that the American one?
Well, that's the American version.
There's the French one.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
The Cajafol.
There you go.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
No. Yes. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
The brain's starting to work again this Friday.
I like it. You had some almond milk, huh?
No, I'm doing poorly. I did. The movie that I was trying to think of that totally drew a blank.
The Estonian movie?
It's called November.
Oh.
Highly recommend it. Okay.
Oh, I think I've heard of this.
In 19th century Estonia, a village is inhabited and personified by Black Death, spirits, werewolves, and the devil himself. A peasant girl, Lena, longs for a village boy, Hans, while Hans longs for the daughter of an aristocrat, German aristocrat, actually. Both try to use mythical powers so that their unrequited love could change into the requited love.
I got to check that out.
That's very Shakespearean, actually, right? Because of A Midsummer Night's Dream, it sort of sounds like a a little bit of that.
I would say, like, if you like David Lynch movies or Lars von Trier or something like that, this one's like right up your alley. And I like that stuff too. I like the weird, funny, odd, weird, quirky.
Yeah,
it was really that. That was like I think that was the last movie I saw in the theater, and it was like I really wanted to go see it. It's like I want to go see a movie I'm really excited about. I saw the trailer, and I'm like, I want to go see it. It's kind of come out in the art, foreign film thing. But if you like just stuff that's just going to be like, okay, what just happened there? I don't know what's happening. That's the movie for you.
Excellent.
Because I like that. So I highly recommend that one. And the trailer, you can see the trailer. And it's beautiful too.
I love it. I love it. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's beautiful black and white cinematography. The cinematography is just amazing. But anyway. It just popped in my head.
Oh, yeah.
I recommend
I gotta check that out.
So, I think last, the other thing, I don't know. Unfortunately, we were doing some stuff, and weeks back, Dr. Stephen Hawking died, and I know that Doc Howsell and I had a little message there, and you posted a thing on your social media about Stephen Hawking too, because you were talking about his appearances in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like the Big Bang Theory. He and Sheldon had a thing happening. Yeah, no, I mean, he was one of these people that I was contracted by, weirdly, a Disney imprint to do a book, in a health and wellness series, an established health and wellness series. It's the first of 2 books I'm going to be writing. The next one's going to be about schizophrenia. No, it might be schizophrenia, but that might be 3 books. I want to do schizophrenia, but I might also be doing grief and loss, because sadly that's something I know a lot about. But this one is about disability rights. And of course, Stephen Hawking, the part of why I got the contract was because it's something I'd written on my blog. And I think Stephen Hawking was involved. And the editor that contacted me, I mean, I didn't, this isn't a contract that I write about pop culture mainly, that's what I'm best known for. I do write a lot of other creative nonfiction and stuff like that. You can see some of those samples on my blog, but this kind of a book is not really something I would typically do, but I am a science writer, and I'm a member of the National Association of Science Writers. And actually, because of this book, I'm going to be speaking in Switzerland in the fall at the 7th Annual Congress of Clinical Safety, and it's connected to my book. But Stephen Hawking actually is somebody I wrote about in the book before he passed away. The book comes out in 2019, by the way. But I wrote about him because he's one of the most highly visible, or was one of the most highly visible disabled people.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And disability, when it comes to disability, you can't get a job. Even if you just have a cane, forget about Stephen Hawking level, you just can't get a job. I mean, in the States, it's brutal. And then we're supposed to be one of the better places to have opportunities, and it's just not true at all. It's a lie. It's a total lie. You have to be a certain thing to get a job, and usually it's white and male. And then if you're healthy and you're female and white, you can get a job. It's really amazing how difficult it is to get a job here if you have something as simple as a cane, which I do happen to have. Sometimes a cane, sometimes nothing, sometimes a couple of hiking poles if I'm out in nature or something. But it's really not a big deal for me at all. But it is a big deal for other people because of liability. And so when I wrote, one of the things that this editor contacted me, and she's like, we love your blog and we love this, that, the other thing, because another one of my medical kind of writings is coming out in a book called Bodies of Truth, and it's an essay I wrote about cancer a decade ago, and it's actually very famous, even though you probably, unless you're involved in that genre, you might not know it, but one of the very famous writers in that genre, Dinty Moore, has an anthology coming out, and he asked me a few years ago if he could include it, and I said yes. And so that's coming out soon. I think people can pre-order the book now. if they wanted to. So and there's like a ton of great writers too. Like Floyd Skloot is going to be. So there's like big writers, and it's awesome. So anyway, back to Stephen Hawking. Yeah. So he's part of the reason I wrote about him. They asked me for a writing sample, and I wrote about him and how, if the way that most disabled people are treated, if he was treated that way, imagine what we wouldn't know about right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he had been held back in any way, and people would say something in response to that, like I would be anticipating or refuting somebody that might say, well, he's a genius, so and nobody would ignore him. But that is totally not true.
Totally not true.
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Vivaldi, look at Poe, look at Melville, the history.
Yeah.
You know, long line of people that wrote the great American novel, like Herman Melville, and ended up dying a poor shipping clerk on the dock.
Oh yeah,
That's right. Right.
Edgar Allan Poe dying in the gutter, and you know, I mean, Vivaldi died, was buried in a pauper's grave. It was unmarked.
Yeah.
You know, Vivaldi, Four Seasons. It's one of the most highly used scores ever to be in Hollywood, pop culture. It's all over the place. So, I just think it's it's like Stephen Hawking is huge, and it was interesting that he died on Pi Day too. It was like, wow.
Well, also there are reasons. I mean, think about it, why they hid FDR's polio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or Kennedy's Addison's disease, and it makes you wonder. I mean, when you talk about so much we would have missed out with Stephen Hawking. I mean, what if Einstein had a disability? Would he have even been acknowledged, or would he still be working? Back then, working as a patent clerk, right?
To stayed at the patent office, probably he wouldn't have even gotten the job at the patent office. He might have died in childhood or as a teen or something. Yeah, I mean, the history of disability in the 1500s. We're talking about witches and werewolves with November, with that film November, and in Europe in the 1500s and 1600s, people that had disabilities were considered witches or with the devil, burned and tortured, and in the States it wasn't much better.
No.
Believe it or not, often put people in institutions. That's why institutions were created. And the horror stories, I'm telling you, the stuff that I've read as a result of doing this book, which, by the way, had nothing to do with the fact that they didn't even know. That was the funny thing, because, people see me like on stage or something in one of the YouTube videos, or see a picture of me, and I don't look different. You know what I mean? And I don't see myself that way at all. But in an employment situation, all the HR person is looking at is thinking, because they can't ask you, all she's thinking is, or he's thinking is, I wonder if she has MS, and then she's going to be on disability for the next 10 years, and not do this. So, there's that sense. And then it all kind of stems from this really weird shit called eugenics.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, we could do a whole show on that.
We could
really could.
We could do a whole show on that. There's a long history we could get into. We can't get into it tonight, but a very depressing history that involves things that happened in Germany during World War II and all that stuff, and it's just it's terrible.
But even before that is when it started. Harvard was a couple of guys from Harvard actually got it going in the. A guy named Dalton, who was the cousin of Darwin, interestingly. They just believed that people were disabled, and disability isn't just physical disability. It can be cognitive. It can be there's a whole bunch of things. Mental illness is considered disability, depression. So there's all kinds of things that can make you different than other people, which is basically all disability is. So frankly, I call it super ability. I think you're super able. You're Olympian if you function.
That's right.
If you can function the way everybody else can when you're not like everybody else, you're an Olympian. And that's the bottom line. And again, anybody that thinks differently, I would be happy to bend you over and convince you with the side of my belt in my high heels and lots of leather.
That's a
that would be just for me.
That's a good point, though. That's like these things that were
I do own a riding crop. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
We never disbelieved it. We never questioned it, really.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point to about like the Marvel comics and Stan Lee and all that. You know, there's a lot of that written in those comics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of, you know, and like super abilities. There's like kind of like a disability. I hate to put it in that context, but you know,
well, especially people's reactions.
X-Men, you know,
people's
for
reactions
example.
to it. They're afraid. Oh my gosh, you know.
Like the X-Men stuff is all kind of like,
yeah.
You know, so and that's always a cool thing about like pop culture and comics and things like that. Where you see it's like, oh, I get this. This is like social commentary on, you know, eugenics or something like that.
And what's weird is too, you know, Professor X is in a wheelchair.
Right.
Everybody knows that he's a disabled superhero, but so is Thor. And so Thor's human identity, he's actually in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Well, people, if you don't read the comics, you don't know that.
Right.
But yeah, his identity, persona, he's in a wheelchair.
Right.
Matt Murdock, Daredevil.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. Daredevil, all that. So.
Yeah. Yep.
I was gonna say, by the way,
cool.
Speaking of the sadly late Dr. Stephen Hawking, although everyone's, you know, the thing is he survived so much longer than he was diagnosed with. The amazing thing. But it wasn't, not only was it Pi Day that he died, that was also Einstein's birthday.
Yes, it was. Einstein was a Pisces, yeah.
And it's March 14th. Weird.
Hawking was born on like on another great scientist's birthday,
yeah. Oh, please tell me it's not Newton, right? It would just be like, oh,
no,
my
it's
gosh.
not Newton. It's Galileo. I think.
That's right.
I think you're right. Yes, yes. I believe. Let's see here. Let's just look it up because we have the power. January 8th, 1942 was Hawking's birthday. No, Galileo died on January 8th, 1642.
Oh, okay. So isn't that odd?
1642 and 1942.
Very synchronous.
It's so weird. And the 3, 6, and 9 is very important numbers in terms of physics. So anybody that's into physics, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Tesla had a lot of those synchronicities.
Yep. That's wild. There's 1640. Look, Galileo died on January 8th, 1642. Stephen Hawking born on January 8th, 1942.
That's amazing.
Then Stephen Hawking dies on Einstein's birthday. Have like a very interesting little loop with those minds, you know, right? Think about that.
I know. See, and you think God doesn't exist, Professor Dawkins. I'm Art Bell. I'm the next. Exactly.
Right. Tonight on Coast to Coast.
Well, this is proof that the reptilians are in charge. I'm telling you. This is absolute proof. We have absolute proof here tonight.
I hope they're listening, and I hope they hear this.
That's right.
Meet me in my bedroom later.
Hey now.
I need the window unlocked. Come on, reptilians.
You bring the pixie sticks.
Could we get the audio effect, you know, the... You ready?
Oh, which one?
Yeah,
okay.
You ready?
Okay, hang on. Hang on.
Conspiracy theory? No. Conspiracy fact.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Okay.
We had to amuse Jason for Friday.
This is the end. Remember, you remember Jonah Hill? Did you guys see This Is the End?
Oh, yeah. Did you? Okay. I didn't.
That's like Jonah Hill's voice when he's taken over by one of the demons.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Great. It's just your makeshift run-of-the-mill demon voice, you know.
I can't wait until technology gets to the point where we can use that on like mobile devices, so I can go through a fast food, drive-through lane.
You know what? I don't know, Jason. I think the future is here if you look through your app store.
Okay, I'll check on it.
Anyway, boy, that was a whirlwind, but that was good though. No, I mean we could just do this. We could do this show forever. Just infinite loop. We could just Doc Housel, you, me, just sit here. Yeah. I don't think we'd ever run out of anything.
No.
It would be a challenge.
No, always something's happening in the world that we can either bag on or make fun of.
Totally a lot happening in the world that we didn't even discuss, but that's okay.
No.
What we had to discuss is the movies coming out and all
Yes.
that, which thank you, Doc Housel, in fine form once again, getting us all the movies, most of which with Jason and I won't get off our butts to watch, but we can talk about them.
No, yeah.
You can have me on the show, and I can go watch them in your stead, and I'll have me on the show again, and I'll talk
That's
about
fine
it.
with us.
That's right.
That works for me. That's even better. Let someone else do the work.
That's right. Doc Housel's our
right.
ringer.
Let a woman do the work.
There it is.
Oh.
Okay, give it to her.
Hey,
Give it to Jess.
my response to that is, might as well. You guys are already the brains of the operation.
There we go.
You know what? It's true. But that's just because we have more oxytocin, so more stuff is connected.
Yeah.
And you guys have that lovely emotional containment thanks to your increased testosterone. So, hey.
Well, I don't know.
Biochemistry.
Maybe not.
Biochemistry.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it's not that contained. We've
Not
got the China syndrome going on here.
Testosterone contained. Not on this show.
Papa, what is the matter? What is wrong? You look so angry.
Papa, what is testosterone?
You're only your husband right now.
Why do I have to keep it contained?
I'll
Tell your wish
it's it might even be on this laptop, but I don't know where it is. I'd have to find it.
Oh, yeah, I need to see this now.
Someone scanned the picture once.
Right.
Please. And then
please.
posted it on their blog.
Doc Norrell's parents,
Yeah.
if you're seeing this right now, please forward all photographs.
Just to say,
Yeah.
we're not in that relationship anymore, are we? Anywho. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, so weekend plans are so actually Infinity War is coming out.
That's right. Yeah.
This
it
week.
came out yesterday, most of the country anyway.
That's the preview, right?
Well, no, they
Or
could
whatever
see
they
it
call
last. Most movies, they open Thursday night, and because it's 24 hours, and so it breaks.
Yeah, Thursday midnight.
But other people have seen it already, like me.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely go see it, and I'm taking nephews, too, so it's going to be a good time.
And your prediction for the big movie isn't necessarily Infinity War. You were kind of hitting it with you thinking of Deadpool 2 or.
I think that Deadpool 2 is going to be very, very, very popular. Okay. And actually, I didn't talk about this because it's not a summer blockbuster, but of course I have to because it's Harry freaking Potter.
Oh, really?
And they have, the second of a 5-movie deal is coming out following Fantastical Beasts. Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
It needs to come out. I'm telling you, that's a whole world that's so wonderful and wholesome, actually. Compared to what, even some of the superhero movies that are coming out. I just don't want kids to just think that being a superhero is the only, which is weird,
right? Because
I wanted to know about superheroes for so long. But I kind of feel like this, and this is not a commentary on Infinity Wars. It's awesome. But, Gail Simone, who I met actually in Portland and worked with her in Portland. She's a very famous comic book writer, one of the first female comic book writers ever, in the history of comic book writing. And she did, Batgirl. She's done like Red Sonja. She's done a lot of really famous ones.
Yeah.
And she kind of said today in her Twitter feed, I retweeted it actually. She's like, I don't know what to say about this. And that there's so much going on, which isn't something that is a spoiler because you can't have that number of storylines and number of different. It's an ensemble cast, but different than an ensemble cast. It's like
there's like 19
movie.
Superheroes or something like that. That to me is like I looked at it and I'm like, whoa, confusing. I'm gonna be like lost in the first minute. I'm gonna be like, now, where's Captain America again? Which one is, Yeah.
And now wrap your brains around this because it's a 2.5-hour movie, so the script was only like 130 pages. So, think about that for a second. You know what I mean? Like when we think about movies, a typical film, the script is about 90 pages. So when you think about Harry Potter, you see a movie, and it comes from a book that's 700 pages, and it boils down to 90 pages. So just think about what that condensation of stuff and having to filter so much of it through sound and visuals is really. You're just going to be a lot going on. There's just a lot going on, and I don't think it's not. I think everybody in the world is going to see it, and I think it's going to make money as a result. But I don't want to say anything because I want people to see it. Yeah. But I do. There's a lot going on, and I feel like a movie like The Incredibles is going to maybe be fantastic and should be seen. And I hope that makes a lot of money because it took freaking years and years to make. But also, it's a feat of animation. But also, Deadpool is going to. The reason why they piggyback those on each other is because Deadpool is a standalone, man. That franchise killed it when it came out. Killed, and Ryan Reynolds was born to play this role, and I will be very sad one day when the franchise is played by someone else, as we see in Batman and Superman and Spider-Man and every movie with any kind of longevity. It's going to happen eventually. Who's going to be able to fill those shoes because Ryan Reynolds is killing it, and if this movie kills it, there will be a third one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Scarlett O'Hara on the Georgia Peach once in a while. Sorry to mention my peach, but hey, what can I do? It just comes out. It sounds dirty. But I really do think they should see it, but there's just a lot going on.
So this is the one that okay, the two that I need to catch up on the Deadpool because I know everybody's told me that it was really great. And so I want to catch up on the Deadpool and maybe get up on that one. The Ant-Man one, too, because I've heard that was really fun. And I like this Wasp Ant-Man idea that you're telling us about. I like that.
You know what?
I like the team-up stuff.
A while. It was mentioned, actually, in the first film. And Paul Rudd is great.
Yeah, I like Paul Rudd. I like Paul Rudd a lot. Yeah.
He's really funny, and he's great at, like, I think people know him, of course, from lots of things, but Anchorman is one of the things. Yeah. He's been in great, he's had some great roles. And I think about him, too, even in, like, Clueless, with Alicia Silverstone, another very famous, rather vegan, actually.
Yes,
and
she is. Yes, she is.
Recently did like a lot of famous stars who are vegans are doing this makeup-free photo shoot to show people how great your skin is when you go vegan.
I watched the reason I recently watched on Netflix a rewatch of I think it Batman and Robin, the one that introduces Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl with Clooney. Is it Clooney? Yeah. I think that it's those Schumacher ones, the ones that everybody hates. But you know what? They're a fun ride. What the hell? It's just like it's not supposed to hurt your brain. Just go with it. But this
George Clooney. Watch.
Yeah, it was Clooney. It was the last one because the first it was Val Kilmer, and then it was Clooney.
That's right.
That was it. And then this Ocean's 8 one just sounds kind of fun.
Yeah,
I'm interested in that one.
And Mindy's in it. She's fantastic.
Anne Hathaway, Mindy, Sarah Paulson, Kate Blanchett. Like you said, you sold it at Kate Blanchett.
Oh my God! Right? Yeah. I mean, any that likes Lord of the Rings, you gotta freaking go to the
Rihanna
movie.
is in it. Rihanna is in it.
Oh wow!
Yes, it is. And you know what? I so love my girl Rihanna.
Yeah.
She just came up with a new line called Fenty, which is in fashion, but also now like coming out in cosmetics. And by the way, the lip gloss is super awesome. It's awesome. Awesome. It tastes good too, apparently.
We'll be reviewing that lip gloss with Jason on Monday's show.
Why not?
Sparkle, fun flavors, and anyway, yeah. Getting money. This girl is on fire. She's making a lot of money, not just from music, because she's very smart. So,
very talented. Yeah.
And then the last one. I mean, of course, the one that's front and center in my mind is Solo, a Star Wars story. Yeah. Not only just because it's Star Wars, and I got to check out I have to go to a Star War and see a Star War. but it's directed by Ron Howard.
Oh, yeah.
And word on the street is that guy can make a few good movies.
Right, yeah.
Especially with astronauts in them.
Right.
And other things.
I've heard somewhere of that before.
Yeah. So they say.
I mean, it's Ron Howard, so who knows? It could be horrible, right? I mean, Happy Days are here again. No,
I don't think so. I think it's going to be really good. It looks good. And here's the other thing too. Here's why I'm excited about Star Wars. Right? We got young Lando. It looks good, and we're going to get a whole bunch of young, kick-ass Chewbacca.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who doesn't like Chewbacca? This is going to be your Chewbacca movie right here.
Right.
Well, maybe not. Maybe they'll spin it off. Maybe it'll be Chewbacca, a Star Wars story. And it'll just be 2 hours of... Oh, wait. That was the Star Wars special. Never mind. We already saw that.
The Ewok one?
No, not the Ewok one. The Star Wars holiday special.
That came out, right? The Christmas special with the little...
Yeah.
I had it on the sun. Yeah, I did. I remember seeing that.
I haven't.
Oh, what was it? Hey, and you know who else we can't get enough of this summer? Because Chris Pratt will also be in Infinity Wars, in case anybody knows the Guardians of the Galaxy are part of this Marvel Universe and are at Infinity Wars, but he's also going to be in the Jurassic Park movie, too, in June.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I'm very sad that he's divorcing my girl, Anna Fair.
Oh, jeez.
I'm really mad about it, but anyway.
Well, you know, those things happen in the world. Anyway.
And I put out a little meme with my turquoise hair from last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's I had a new piece that I put on my blog, which is RebeccaHousel.com. And the blog has over 2 million readers from now 136 countries. What?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I can't even believe it myself. But I do have books sold in 9 languages in about 90 countries. So that makes sense, right?
And here it is
so
right
anyway, I did put it. Yeah.
RebeccaHousel.com.
Thank you. Yes.
Click on blog. And you also you have the Soul Arrow Entertainment as well. Yeah,
that's really a company that I now use to do what I call my hashtag Emma, which is my trademark, which is a trademark. Everything in my mind awaits. And I use it to help kids. And actually, I have something that's going on. Last year, I did a lot of different things and helped kids with cancer, homeless kids, helped kids in Ireland. This year, I'm going to be doing something with another cancer survivor and sending a child to camp for, an autistic child to camp. So there's some things I'm still trying to just do. Basically, it's a very small little, it's me. It's my company, but it's just, to help kids wherever I can. So just trying what I can do to help the world a little bit, give kids joy. And, so that's fine if people want to go there. But really, it's RebeccaHousel.com. That's where all the books and stuff. And, guys, I'm going to write a piece about summer blockbusters, and I'd like to include you guys in that piece if that's okay. I'd like to.
Because when you think summer blockbusters, what do you think? You think of Doc and Jason, right? It's like, of course.
Summer blockbusters, Curmudgeons.
And that way people can go and listen to our,
absolutely.
I listen to our banter, but also check out some of the things we had to say about the movies coming out. And it's going to be a great summer. It's a great year, right? 2018.
That's right.
Becomes an 11th year of awakening. It's an 11 years. So hopefully there's a lot of people that are coming to terms with themselves and going to be better people. Become vegan. We should do some subliminal thing.
If we ever needed an awakening, it's right now, man.
Hey, you know what? It's going to be a cruel, cruel summer, I'm telling you.
Oh,
my girls.
Oh, boy.
Hey, they're on tour,
You need banana smugglers when you read my new blog piece, because the picture is actually me, and we were talking earlier about what I like to do in my backyard.
Yeah.
And it's a picture of me, no nipples, but
Yeah, I was gonna put it up here, but I was kind of like, oh, look at that.
You know what? It's out there on the internet, so I figured.
I know. I was kind of like, oh, I just remembered I have some compost to go do some composting. And yes, well, you can go find that on.
Wheelbarrow there. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "What the fuck are you saying hi to me for?
Yeah.
Avert your eyes, dude."
There's a picture of your face. That's good.
Right.
There you go.
You know, I never took up gardening until Dr. Rebecca moved next door.
Yeah.
The hot neighbor. I know. You know, but I've had this house for a long time. I don't live here all the time. It's just,
Right.
you know, I'm just here. You know, I happened to be here the other week when there was like a 70-degree day. And I was like, oh, hey, it's been winter for 5 months. I think I'll go outside in the sunshine. And then once I'm outside in the sunshine, my clothes fall off. It's like tequila. What can I do?
It's magic.
It's a Nelly song. It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot, I'm going to take my clothes off. No take. What?
Well, unbeknownst to you, Dr. Rebecca Housel, we're going to use these audio cuts of you singing, and we're going to come out with like a best of on KTEL Records. And
That's so
you know,
the guys at Black Dog, when I was doing the audio book for Twilight and Philosophy, which is one of the biggest sellers I've ever had, actually, thanks to Stephanie Meyer. Shout out, girl. Big high five. Yeah, so I was doing the audio there, and I'd get bored because I'm ADD, and I'd be like, oh, porn voicey, and I'd be like, hey, I want to suck your cock.
Whoa.
And the engineer in the room would be like, suddenly he'd realize what I was saying. He'd look at me, and he'd be like, what? I'm like, just kidding. Just kidding, Ed. No big deal. I'm just porn voice.
Just to clarify, you were at the chicken farm.
yes,
And
Yes.
looking at some nice chickens and roosters.
right.
That didn't even.
You know what?
That didn't even work. That even just dug the hole. I should have
Right.
just. Get me a shovel. Get me a shovel.
Listen,
You know what? No shovels. No, this is actually interesting because when I did that recording, I did it in the studio, the same studio where Metallica recorded their first album. So, right, exactly. So this is a sound history moment in music and pop culture. Hey, why not?
There you go.
if this was the old show, there's a few things that I could fly out with that would be quite fitting.
So much for, like I said, so much for that remote.
Yeah, right.
Oh. No, really?
Yeah, no, it's got nothing to do with you. It's your
it's
guest.
fine.
Oh no.
You know, you're a comedian. It would be like saying to Amy Schumer, "Oh, sorry, Amy Schumer, you can't be a sex comedian on this show." What? Okay.
Right.
I mean, and it's night now, so hopefully the kids are in bed.
That's exactly what we'll be doing. We'll have Amy Schumer on. We're like, you can't,
right.
go dirty, no.
No.
Anyway.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always awesome to have Dr. Rebecca on the air, man.
Yes, it is.
Except for the F-bomb.
Oh, no.
And the S&S references, riding crowds, and bloggers. Yeah, okay.
Look, here's the deal, okay? Jason had this wild idea.
Okay.
And he started making a deal, Dr. Housel, with it's like a kids show. And so we're like, oh yeah, we'll do a little kids show and stuff. And so they're like, well, we'll tune in and see what you guys talk about. So pretty much the kids show is off.
Hey,
so anyway.
Buddha.
Yes,
Buddha has left a message, and he says Bruce Campbell is in Jacksonville, Oregon.
Oh, Jacksonville. That's
right.
Okay.
Thank you, Buddha.
That sounds right.
We love you.
Yep. That sounds right.
Who wants a six-pack when they can have a keg, baby?
That's right. That's the Buddha.
Oh, jeez.
That's for you, Buddha.
That's right.
You
You better stop that, Dr. Rebecca. You'll give him a big head. He'll like,
You know what? You rub his head and you'll get some good luck. Or is it his belly? Or maybe it's lower than that. Oh, no. Oh, no. Stop me. Stop me. Stop me. Stop me.
Rub the Buddha. Yeah.
I don't see anything.
That's why he doesn't want to get me in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. Anyway. But hey,
that's gonna be like we'll put Bernard's picture, the Jeffrey Wright's picture from Westworld, and the whole episode will be titled "I don't see anything."
I don't see anything.
Nothing.
All right.
No. All right, boys. Oh my goodness. I've had a blast. Thank you guys
Good.
so much.
Well, that's what's important.
Lots
That's
of
the
fun.
most important thing.
That's right, isn't it?
Yes,
It's
it
been
was a good time. But very informative, too, for your audience, I hope.
That's right.
Summer blockbuster, summer movies.
It is.
Woo-hoo! I'm going to include your link in my next piece.
Yay.
Yeah.
But you should real, because real is actually real. It's real talk, and it's pretty awesome. It's about relationships, weirdly. Not weirdly, but good. I think you'd like it. And then there's a piece from March 31st called Faith. I think you guys would like that a lot, too. It's not about religion at all, actually. It's about improving, self-improvement.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
good.
I think that's the one that I put on the screen.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, because you didn't want to. You said that was the headshot one, yeah. And today's National Headshot Day.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
I got to tell you, Doc, it's always fantastic when you're on the show.
You guys sound tired. Every man is tired after I'm with them.
Doc, you wore us out.
All right. That's...
Yes. We're done.
Burn it all down, guys.
We're all like lean back in our chairs, like
Just...
we've done 4 quarters of football. Like, Doc, having trouble breathing over here. Yeah. Medic.
Oh, dear Lord.
You, the intern over there, get the medic. Anyway.
You mean mouth to mouth? You mean to make a house call? I am a doctor after all.
Yes. You are. I know, right? It's just like, see, every time, he's now speechless.
I
am too. So there you go. That's what you do. You leave us speechless.
So sorry.
No,
you put that, but you can put that on your, your CV, your promotional.
Yeah.
She leaves us speechless. Coffee with Curmudgeons.
If you want the quote, you know.
Yeah.
I get heart palpitations, Jason Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Left me speechless.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Doc, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I loved it. I love you too. And thanks again. Appreciate you very much. So have a great night. Great weekend. Go see the movie.
That's right.
Infinity War.
All right.
Go to the movies.
Go to the movies.
Don't do like us.
Yeah.
Don't
be shut in.
Don't be like us. Go to the movies. Buy popcorn.
Have fun storming the castle. Princess Bride.
All right. Take care. Thank you so very much.
Bye.
Good to hear from you.
Should I do the radio wrap up?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Dr. Rebecca Housel, the pop culture professor. Get on up to her site today. Check out her blog, check out Soul Arrow Entertainment, and connect with her on Facebook and all other social media platforms.
RebeccaHousel.com.
Was that enough FM?
That was good.
Okay.
Yeah, RebeccaHousel.com. You can find out all the info there. On her blog and her Twitter and all that.
When you talk about movies and stuff, she is a fount of knowledge, man.
She's great. Yeah, she's great.
She's fantastic.
No, she is really great.
No, she's fantastic.
It's like,
I love Doc.
Literally, I am pretty much like speechless at this point.
Right.
I think this is the first time in the show that I'm literally left kind of like I got
Yeah, that's why I love Dr. Housel. Yeah, she's the one person.
You are too, dude. You're
she's the one person that made me like.
Yeah, I know. At some point, she's gonna do it too. She's gonna do it.
It's like that scene in Scanners where the little veins start.
It's exactly right.
And stuff. She's awesome. Yeah. I love talking to her.
Like I looked over at you and you're like, and I'm looking at, and I'm like, I'm feeling it too. The vein, and I'm like, I think. See, it's superpowers. She has superpowers. She has all of the.
She's got powers.
I'm telling you, I like this idea.
Yeah.
Of getting her. Yeah. To be the next Art Bell.
Oh yeah.
Like late at night, and we need a woman in there. Oh man, would you listen to that?
I would listen.
You'd be calling in. They'd block your number.
You would. I'd be having to disguise my voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. I'm calling from New Orleans. Yeah, that's right, New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk
Jason, that's you.
Oh, sorry. Whoever the screener is like, oh my God, will you stop calling? But I want to talk about aliens.
We have caller ID, Jason. Yeah.
I want to talk about Bigfoot. foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm like, hey, let's make that happen.
Right? No, she would be great, man. We could
Oh my
syndicate
gosh.
that show. She would be huge.
She would be great. She would be
Huge.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I just want to be the person like sitting on the side on the couch, like
all
every
she has
once
to
in a while.
do, all she has to do for me,
Yeah.
is do the what do they call? See, I block it from my mind every time.
What's
the thing with the radio waves and the spirit box.
Yeah.
See, I block it
Spirit
every
box.
time. I block it. That's how freaked out. That's all she has to do is spirit box stuff. And I'll be like,
Right. It's like,
you're freaking me out. Anyway,
What's gonna gotta go?
I
You
know.
know.
No.
Little hair starts standing up.
I like that idea. All right,
yeah.
we really got to go. God,
Yeah, we ran overtime.
it's been a weird day.
Yeah. It's been a Friday.
Yeah, it's good though. Great weekend. Have a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
And yeah. We'll see you later.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Goodbye. Have a nice weekend. Okay.